trap zoning, the looming Orianna Ball, and then the Kennen flying teleport. A lot of answers that C9 need to track if they want to siege.
Definitely agree, and I do like the other adaptation Cloud9 have made with the Nami in the bottom lane to add that sustain, add the extra pressure there for the early stages so that, you know, they aren't constantly getting chunked out and they aren't constantly an opportunity for the enemy team to take advantage of.
Basically, Core JJ, the only one, and Meteos, I should say, playing the champions they brought from game one. So trying to switch things up here. Cloud9 obviously has taken blue side for this game. We'll see if the first picks matter. We're heading into game two. Cloud9 trying to reset here and clear their minds. Remember to tweet at LOL Esports and tell us what makes your Worlds highlight reel worth the hashtag Worlds Big Plays. There's going to be plays all throughout Worlds, and we want to be able to remember them as they come and as they go. Crowd once again behind Cloud9 as they step onto the Rift. We are heading into game two of this best of 5. The teams have swapped sides. The rosters have been shaken up with champions. And we'll see how it plays out in game two.
Definitely a risky comp here for the underdogs Cloud9 with a lot of damage and the potential to snowball. But they have to, you know, get something going early here because Samsung, they have a lot of flash playmaking abilities. Skarner and Kennen can pose a very big threat to the back line.
Yeah, they're rolling the dice here. Could be rolling the top dice as well when Impact and Juve go off against each other again, because that's a very snowbally matchup. In a Jace matchup, if he dies once, this Kennen can continuously bully, but if Impact somehow gets ahead, he can swing that matchup too.
He got ahead! Ha!
It's over.
Always feels really bad as a Kennen when your opponent even gets a little bit of health. You can stun him all the time, but he'll be able to fight you back. So it's always good for a Kennen to have to stay on top of that lane, as well as be as ferocious in his engages. That's a lot what Samsung is bringing to the table here, just jumping into your face. We'll see how Cloud9 reacts once we get to that point in the game. A little top-heavy set here as they just kind of hang out in the jungle, looking to pick up some gold.
And I wonder if Meteos is going to go for the Wolf start, where you smite them early, and you basically leave the Wolf Sprite to kind of patrol your left side jungle, so make sure that Skarner doesn't come in and steal the early blue buff away, because then you can return at level 3 or 4, hand off the blue buff to your mid laner, and then swing that matchup into Jensen's favor. He definitely needs some help. Jungle presence, early lost chapter rush, maybe just the early blue buff, you know, anything that can help or get out sustain.
All right, good start there for the Samsung bottom lane. Their patience waiting in the side bush is rewarded.
Got that Soul Flare double tap.
Yeah, these are the few levels where Jensen can still have a trade advantage, and he's really making use of them. So that's good for C9, playing towards his strengths early on. It's actually overextending by Core JJ, could get punished there.
Yeah, but Cloud9 grouped up there. Both got hit with the AoE. Yeah. They also did not move up right behind the minion wave. You want to go to make sure that one of them is protecting you from skill shots. But Nami sustain in effect, as seen here.
Denying some minions on the first one. Crown taking quite a bit of damage here. It's Ghost and Flash. It's Ghost and Flash. They're not going to have the Ignite, and they go down to last hits with the auto attacks. Neither go down.
I love those moments where both mid laners have double summoners. They get down to 100 HP each. Nobody blows them because Jensen knows he's run out of mana. Here we go, though. First room.
You should have seen him.
This is big.
You should have seen him. He's trying to kind of bait it out now. He knows it's there with these steps.
But we got to go back to that trade there. Jensen was doing it so well. He was weaving auto attacks in between his E's overall, but then at the end, he went for the QE combo, ran out of mana. And that's exactly what Crown knew. He knows his matchup so well. Good pressure.
And when you watch those trades, you also, that's where you build up your psychological profile for your enemy, right? You say, oh, is this the guy, is he that crazy enough to always dodge forward? Is he always going to position in front of my ball? Yes, that is very often the case for Jensen. And he goes very aggressively for another trade here, pushing up the minion wave. See, Crown has to deal with all those last hits now under the turret, and Jensen going to be able to buy himself a recall.
All right, this is where Meteos could actually go top and also shadow the top lane, giving more space for Impact to keep doing what he's doing. He's winning so hard. This bot lane is even out. Even on CS, if these creeps go down, it's completely even. So Sneaky and Smoothie have outpaced that early bad trade.
Yep. But if you watch the mini-map, so Cloud9 here, Meteos always going for the very small advantages. So he just takes over the Skarner icon there, the crystal, which is not a crystal with the skin. But doing that, yes, does give you a little bit of control as far as reducing the speed of Ambition's jungle. Gives away your position though in the process.
The flourish hits the ground, but they still want to fight. CoreJJ throws the shield down, and they have to respect Karma's retaliation. Getting some good ebb and flows in as they make things happen here. Tycaller's blessing on to Sneaky, but looks like he's just farming out with this one.
And what prompted that is both junglers gave away their position by each taking over the crystal one after the other on top side. So both bottom lanes are very well aware that they're in the 2v2.
Props to both Impact and Cuvee. Cuvee farming well, Impact playing that chase very nicely, threading in his auto attacks as he flies in with the empowered ones. Focus on this bottom lane here. 30-29 as Sneaky is caught up in CS with a bit of pressure they put on Ruler and CoreJJ.
Yeah, but Ruler must know how to play against Nami. CoreJJ as well must have watched a lot of games from Wraith, the substitute support from Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah.
Nami aficionado, that's also why people expected him to start, because in the week 1, the top tier expected support pick was that Nami before Mata kind of showed the world that Alistar still existed.
And that's the thing, when you have a support that's at the same level or just around the same high level of play as your quote-unquote main, you can even practice against them. You don't have to just watch tape and watch VODs of the matchup. You can go into custom games and trade over and over again.
So obvious Tiamat coming in from Meteos. He can continue to farm his jungle quickly. See Cuvee put a little bit of deep wardage in. Let's see if they can start making some moves off the tells of Cloud9 once Meteos passes that. 43-41 here in the top lane. So far a different game, but it has not exploded here. We haven't seen somebody take the lead.
Yeah, and one of the big differences is, yes, the draft, but also Cloud9 not really trying to force plays anymore. They had a bunch of plays that were punished by Samsung, and they're not trying to get behind early again. So more farming, and you can see the farming focus. Meteos early Tiamat here on the Rex side. He knows this is going to be about farming out the extra small camps. Tiamat really helps out with that clear.
Very sustained as well. Just staying on that.
Threads in another auto fight in the bot lane. CoreJJ goes down to about 200 HP.
He is.
As you can see, Cuvee is still about 60% and okay in the top.
Yeah, finally top lane though. He's combining the counter jungling with pressure in the top lane. This is some part of the recipe that C9 was looking for, and now they can maybe lean on the advantage.
And that is also a possible play that could get turned around with Cuvee now hitting 6 on the Kennen. And Skarner, Meteos knows that Skarner is trailing him because he was seen while counter jungling. Very, very risky there, and that is one of those ones that flashes before your eyes that could possibly end up in a double kill for the enemy.
There's no Karma in lane here. Look at CoreJJ on the minimap as well. Doesn't run straight down bot lane because he got an early base in. Despite the lane being even, you wonder why base so early. Well, you lose a couple CS bot, you gotta translate that into an advantage, so he goes for unpredictable rolling patterns.
Really, really good to point out there, because we talked about this a little bit before, but that 5 to 7 mark where your first excursion to try and get Vision down, you see he upgrades the Sightstone, brings a pink ward, and Vision is also trying to get Vision at the same time. Actually, they're on different sides. Can be Meteos steal
It's a Vision war!
There's no smite for Meteos, so it'd have to be a...
Tiamat prop? Oh, they're just hiding him.
Roam here from Impact.
Didn't seem like there was a call from Cuvee to Impact left lane either. What a chance for Cloud9 to pick up a kill there. Flash, though, taken from Ambition.
Big summoner down here on Ambition, loses the flash, but look at the jungle. One ward right here. Second, third down below in the Crux. Complete information from Samsung. So they traded 10 CS in the bottom lane for a beneficial base timing on support.
Yeah.
Then CoreJJ picked up the Sightstone, and yeah, they were behind in timing-wise, but they got bot lane vision, which means by exclusion, they also have left side vision. They can track Meteos right now.
Exactly, and that's why I was so surprised that Ambition was split off from CoreJJ during that vision. They actually did the two-pronged vision invade. Meteos, though, does have the Raptor Smite, so he saw that one. They know it's warded, but they won't be able to clear it out.
Smoothie's
Risky here.
coming into play. Smoothie puts one over the wall as the top lane try to put each other underneath the ground. Cuvee and Impact going at it once again. Nobody taking each other down just yet, as Impact does have that Hex Drinker to keep himself safe.
And clearing wards in River as a support is a fine line between courage and stupidity. You gotta act confident. You gotta fake it till you make it. You gotta walk in as if you got backup. But if they know you don't have backup, you're toast.
But yeah, but you have to be very ready to turn around and run away quickly. Pink ward die, though, over and over and over. All 3 of those pink wards that just were purchased and placed on the bottom side were all just cleared out.
Yeah.
That means that the vision Cloud9 actually left on the top side is the important vision that still stands. Meteos, though, walks over Cuvei's defensive Tri-Bush ward.
And this might be an error in communication, whether they didn't track the wards, but even though this gank doesn't accomplish much, he's at least getting in the head. He's breaking the pattern of Meteos never goes top, and that's important. Because the next time Impact walks up, Cuvei may hesitate for a second. It's like, why is this guy so aggressive? Is he alone, or is the jungler here again? And those little things matter.
Yeah.
So even if the gank doesn't work out right now, it could get into Cuvei's head, but he's proven to be very stable. It's doubtful, but there's a chance.
And they would need to do that in a different way. One of the things that I've been a little bit sad about at Worlds is I have not seen too many of the wraparound ganks where you come through the lane, through these lane rush.
Right.
And yes, at the top lane, you can ward your Tri-Bush
Yep.
over and over on red side, and that's, you expect there to be a ward there, but very, very few top laners will buy pink wards or extra wards for their lane brush, and you can sneak in there, especially if you have flash on Rek'Sai. That could be a very easy route.
And those are the low percentage plays. You know, they don't always work out, but when they do, they give you big hits. But in searching for efficiency here and not wanting to get cross-mat too often, it's so dangerous when you don't do that. I like this more of a play. Constant push up the lanes here. This Nami pick paying off because this control in the bot lane cascades into the river. The vision is ready to test. Sneaky.
Ultimate down.
Pretty tanky so far with that Cinderhawk. The inner flame just completely tearing through Smoothie there. Looks like they'll be able to get this one down though. The Soul Flare rather from Karma.
Shockwave threatened.
Both damage. Jensen's there. Ghost and Flash. Doesn't look like he's going to have to use either to get out of this, but there was a Flash from Sneaky as well in that play.
Yeah, the difference there between Jensen and Sneaky is that I believe they communicated that Rek'Sai's, that Skarner's ultimate is down. It was actually Sneaky who was the one who took that the Skarner ultimate. However, he was the one to burn his Flash, scared of the follow-up there instead. Yeah.
Just being safe.
He was a little bit lower. He could get comboed down. Cassiopeia as always has a threat, and Jensen still had some room before he had to flash. So I think C9 played that one perfect here. They didn't get afraid.
Yeah.
They let their AD carry get dragged away into the enemy team, and they calmly kept doing dragging right there. So for once on the same page, and that's a difference in these little plays.
The Nami tidal wave for disengage plus the Nami heal there gives them the confidence to get out, and Cloud9 get the Drake with only burning Sneaky's flash.
Now look at the build here. Cuvei opting into early aggression here. Magic Pen boots after a single item. This could catch Impact off guard, but because he CS so well early, he already has that Hexdrinker and a Dirk.
Second Doran's Blade as well for a little bit of HP from these all-ins from Impact, as well as the CS bit better under that turret. Coming up on 12 minutes, a much more even game we have here in game 2, I think, as well. Cloud9 is not allowing themselves to fall prey to little mistakes.
Yeah, and fascinating for these team comps as well. They both want to group up for different reasons here. Another duel between Impact and Cuvei. Knock, knock.
Oh, here come the junglers as well. This time they smell blood, and Cuvei is very low.
Alright, Meteos checking for a camp. If he can cancel that back, that would be big. Loving this top side pressure from C9.
Yeah, exactly. Those pink wards have stayed in the top side river for Cloud9 for over 5 minutes here, and it's been repeat returns here from Meteos. Now, they also have defensive vision. They'll see Ambition.
Oh, use this gate. That's dangerous.
Lightning rush is
Flash
there.
early.
That's his speed. He is going to have to flash that one, but they'll push him all the way out of this one. Cuvei picking up the top minions.
Really important that he flashed early there. Definitely the applause for Impact is deserved, but now very scared up there. As we talked about, the Kennen plus Skarner, so much gank pressure.
And it shows you the danger of going for that poke in lane when you don't exactly know what a jungler is, because you're forced to use your defensive spell, which is the gate for the speed boost, but you place it in front of you.
Yeah. And on top of that, as we are looking now towards the mid game and how these 5-on-5 fights are going to play out, remember that Cloud9 are running this high pressure, high damage backline, but Samsung have the engage advantage with the Kennen and the Skarner having their flashes.
Yeah, it's a poke siege comp, just like you said, Colby, that wants to chip away from distance first. If they run head on, of course Samsung Galaxy is going to win. They put the Skarner ulti on one target. Once the defense comes in, instant Orianna ulti and it's over. But if they can use the Deadly Flourish and they can use some of that poke from Impact in the top lane, suddenly these Galaxy members will drop low enough and then C9 can strike. So it's very interesting juxtaposition. Both these teams like fighting around objectives, but they have a different approach. It's shotgun all in from Samsung, and it's slow, steady poke down approach from C9.
It's been a very different approach for both teams here. First blood in our last game was 6-12. We've already doubled that time, and nobody's fallen yet on the map, but they have come very, very close in these attempts.
Yeah, and Samsung Galaxy in week 2, we're averaging 4.5 kills by 15 minutes. Right now they have 0. Good sidestep from Ruler. So this is kind of breaking their early game pattern, and C9 for once, they're staying even. So definitely a much different game.
And I think it's an intelligent adaptation from Cloud9. Because, here we go mid lane though. Double summoners available for Jensen. Mind game.
Yeah. You don't want to flash too early, because you don't want to flash for nothing. But you don't want to flash too late, because then you're dead.
Yeah.
Perfect. Basically an audio play. You're listening for that sound.
Well, there is a second door here, and door number 2 involves Ghost, and I do encourage ghosting early.
Ooh, that's definitely a killable position for Impact. Juve knows he cannot stay any longer. Just a quick switch to the hammer, and that would have been Juve down.
Yeah, that was one of those plays. Don't try them at home. Go for the early ghost, but Impact again. Look how he's leaning on that advantage, because now he has the assistance of Meteos. And it's all because of the Nami pick, kind of, because bot lane is fine on its own, sustained pressure, which means Meteos no longer has to care about bot lane. He can switch his focus to mid and top, play the top lane triangle, and Impact, he can relentlessly keep pushing. Last game he was pushing early, but he got afraid. He got pushed back in lane.
Exactly. A Caitlyn Karma, while it's oppressive and pokes heavy and is annoying to lane against, does not have that same kill pressure. Does not have the ability to punish you for mispositioning like that. And Sneaky and Smoothie just fine on their own down bottom. Meanwhile, Impact getting that CS lead in this game as well. But remember, as we transition to the team fight phase, Kennen has a very high impact as far as all in, especially if Flash is available. Protobelt on the way as well.
Yeah, that's the difference. Well, going for the instant Protobelt rush here, Magic Pen boots. Jensen doing is formidable in this mid lane though. He's joined an objective, contested it, didn't have to flash out, he dodged the gank, fading flash for flash against the Scholar. And this is the second flash from Ambition that's been burned. He's used one ultimate in the game, all have been for naught.
Also remember, the flash that Sneaky blew last time they took the Drake is back up right now. Cloud9 went unpunished for that summoner spell.
There's a hit. Tidal Wave goes down, they're still on Sneaky. They throw his exhaust in, and Smoothie tries to get in the way, say, attack me, not my AD, and they come out worse for the wear on that one.
Yeah, I think that's one thing you can criticize.
Well, actually not.
M4, we need to see what Ambition does here.
One
He's
thing,
pointing.
well, yeah, see, so one thing about, people always talk about setting up for Drakes, and Drake is about to spawn 15 seconds, everybody be here. The other thing about setting up for Drake is sending your jungler down there, trying to pressure one of those lanes to force a recall at a suboptimal,
Maybe collapse here on Ambition against Bubble.
Everything was just used by Smoothie. They let him pass this time.
But yeah, back to the point, as they
You're not
continue to
running,
fight over
baby?
Drake. Recall times and staggering those recall times around the objectives can sometimes be just as important.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see if Ambition can contest here. He has his AD carry and support in the jungle, but Cloud9 don't necessarily know that. That's a really good zoning by Asma here too.
Top laner as well. Impact sitting in the bush, ready for a TP if it needs to come in. They play it safe. And Cloud9 grabs Dragon number 2.
And despite having the unfavorable matchup in the mid lane, Crown is not getting access to the river sooner than Jensen. Jensen's been there for the first time every single time, much faster here, despite playing in a matchup deficit.
Impact playing this top lane so well. Fog of War is Jace's friend. He always has that pink ward below him and always a ward in the top to know if he can get Juve on either side of the wave with a shock blast, and he has been chipping away when he has time between farming. Ward clearing now for Samsung Galaxy. They've been all over Cloud9's pink wards as soon as they come out.
Yeah, the battle over Vision in River has been very tense this game. Meanwhile, in the top lane that you're talking about as well, with Impact and Juve, and talking about backing up and looking for those teleports, there is a pretty big opportunity cost to teleporting away from a Jace lane. Because Jace can very quickly melt towers. The first turret gold is still on the map here, so if there's a huge fight bottom lane, there's...
You were saying? You were saying? Ruler flashes over the tidal wave! He goes for a surf, and Core JJ still getting the shots in. Smoothie with 350 health lives on that one with just about 100 under his belt. Impact forced to go back as he's not ready for Ambition and Juve together.
Yeah, a lot happened in these last 2 minutes right here. again, this is the time of the game where Samsung Galaxy usually ramps it up.
15 to
This
20.
pink ward survived again because Meteos was shadowing the lane. He was there to protect that, which means Impact can keep playing aggressively, and they're going for that first gold turret that Kobe was talking about because it was a race.
There
They
you
had
go.
to commit because C9 made a misplay in the bottom lane. They missed some spells, and they still decided to fight on. And they end up dying. Beautiful flash from Rule there through the tidal wave.
Definitely a huge point of power for Samsung, this bottom lane. That was not the side of the map that was talked up so much. You know, Ruler, one of the new guys on the block, and Core JJ, you know, swapping roles, going back to Korea, coming in.
Yeah.
And such a huge part of their run to get to Worlds.
And that bot lane play, see, it all stems like,
Here again.
it goes back to the previous trade where they engage on the support far too often and getting not so beneficial trades for C9. So they shifted their mentality, said like, we need to stop trading on support. So they went ham to get the Caitlyn, but they missed everything. And if a Caitlyn can sight at the bubble, there's so much punish, especially when the Karma can then land the AoE in very predictable fashion here. Cloud9 overreaching, honestly.
Yeah, we return to this theme of Samsung being very good on the defensive and being very quick to throw counter punches. As soon as Cloud9, that was a Cloud9 offensive play in the bottom lane. They went for the bubble. They moved up with the heal to try and get positioning. But Samsung cut off the retreat. They lay down the trap right behind Sneaky. He walks onto it, and they secure their kill 2 versus 2.
Mid lane on to Crown. Oh, Cloud9 says king me real quick.
And that
Crown
can
goes
move
down.
That can move right into mid pressure here. Cloud9 have a ton of extra damage in top and mid. Gonna try and burn down the turret.
And you can see exactly what happened there. Crown died with both Ghost and Flash up because it was a beautiful miasma. Look at Meteos' Flash. It's down. You can only see what happened. It was Ghost W from the Casio, Flash knock up from Meteos, and suddenly Crown, yes, he has his ulti, but he couldn't even get it off in time. Completely caught off guard. And that's mainly because if you look at the left side, pink ward vision. Vision control in the river is paramount to control of the map.
Yeah. Incredible Cloud9 completely wiping game 1 out of their minds, coming in even stronger in game 2 and playing proactive enough to get themselves first turrets and kills under their belt. Jensen now sits pretty in mid lane. That Abyssal Scepter is complete. He's got a little extra money as he goes towards his Rylai's.
And just to point out how stark the contrast is, let's see this again, actually. With this play here, yeah.
Oh,
follows up
sneaky.
So beautiful. Cloud9 right now are even and slightly ahead of Samsung Galaxy. Samsung Galaxy in their last 3 games, which were all wins, was up at least 8,000. They were on average
Right.
8,300 up and 20 minutes. Right now, they're bang on even, so this is a whole different world for them now.
And something important in that play as well is it kind of speaks to the mentality of Meteos in the front line here. Even though they're playing a more cautious game and they don't want to force as many of those super early game plays that are, you know, fairly low percentage, he still has to have the killer instinct to flash it for the knockups when you see something like that. You know, an opportunity so clear as that, and that is important to know that Cloud9 still have that after that huge loss in the first game.
Yeah, and honestly, it's great to see that he went for the play despite a flash knock-up in the last game, honestly costing them the game. Not because he failed, but there was lack of synergy. This time, the W from Jin was perfectly timed.
Meteos also
yeah,
killer
Titanic
instinct.
Hydra, very killer. It's like they want to put the pain down. Cinder Hulk into a bit of good damage for himself. We'll see how they continue to use that. Placing their wards forward a little bit more, something Cloud9 lacks in a lot of cases, and they play around too much fog of war, but here they are trying to light up the map.
And they're setting up around this dragon so early. Vision control is always there. They're punishing Samsung Galaxy from entering, because look, it's 2 Ocean Drakes. They're not the best for C9, but denying them of Samsung Galaxy is a big hit, because Samsung's playing as the Pokemon. They would have loved to have these Ocean Drakes.
A very good point. Wards continue to be moved forward. Cloud9 looking at a 30-second Infernal Drake to get a little bit of buff on their damage.
Yeah, that is going to be huge because anytime you talk about a very high damage backline, a 3-carry team.
4 carries.
4 carry team, but well, yeah, Titanic.
That's true.
So it's not going to. Okay, 4 carry team. There you go. The Infernal Drakes are that much more important, and it is spawning now. Also, look at how the vision is creeping up into Samsung's jungle. This might be the point where Samsung call it though.
Yeah.
They have Flash on their engaged champions, and they're moving in.
They're moving in, but they can't grab the tank, and the Impact moved down because he doesn't want to teleport in. He's a Jace. He wants to poke before the setup. Remember, the C9 is a poke composition. They do not want to hard engage. They want to keep moving Samsung Galaxy left and right, whittle them down.
That's why it's so important to push these waves up, because every time you push up the wave, you buy 5 seconds. Kennen's trying to clear in the mid lane, so Cloud9 move in and get vision control.
And we can see the combo right there. It's tag into Jin W, into Miasma, into more poke, re-engage, or disengage rather. That's what they're running here. They gotta be so wary of the hard engage from Samsung. This team fight could be over in simply 3 or 4 seconds if Samsung pull the trigger.
The only one, oh, beautiful ball movement over by Jensen. Causes the Dragon to have to be fought. C9 says we'll take the fight as well that follows after. That's gonna be, no, that's Ambition getting in. Looking like it was a Rek'Sai, but it's Skarner. Meteos has to get out of this fight. Still waiting for Ambition to flash engage. Meteos is going to be safe. The trap does not allow a headshot to come through from Ruler.
I was so ready
that is
for
a
the
Dragon
flash
steal.
headshot from Ruler. There's still heal.
Yeah.
But I like the commitment. C9 were at least in unison right there. They had communication that multiple parts worked together to stop that Dragon, and they moved in. Sure, it was a missed smite, but thematically, it was a good play.
Yeah, definitely going in to try and force that and zoning off Samsung. But Samsung do get the important Infernal Drake there for themselves, and denying it from Cloud9.
And that was Crown moving the ball. I'm sitting in last game with Jensen on Orianna. My mistake. So 39.7 to 39.5, but a 30 CS lead here for Impact in the top lane, and he has been giving Cuvee hell. We actually thought to see Ambition and Cuvee making work up there. The Impact going back to top die, trying to get those kills.
Good rotation here too. Suddenly Caitlyn top, looking for that turret after the long lane was established earlier. Smoothie can't really do much. There's more people coming though, so they want to be careful, but look at Ruler, not afraid. But definitely want to go back to that smite steal from Ambition. He failed He traded 2 flashes. His first ulti didn't stick. He's 0-0-0 on the Skarner at 25 minutes, but he still stayed super calm. Didn't smite early, wait for the perfect smite.
Yeah, it's almost, it brings up this question in my mind, because he has not had a really impactful gank. Is that a reason why Cloud9 will delay their QSSs and nobody is really trying to get an early QSS here? The other thing is that Cloud9 actually have so many good targets for Skarner, so unless you all buy QSSs, then it's really an all or nothing thing, because there's so many carries to choose from.
It's almost like a prisoner's dilemma just for QSSs. Everybody's got to work together toward the same goal. If one guy cracks, it's an inefficient strategy.
We'll see. Maybe they got a bunch of coupons to all buy QSS at the same time, and then Samsung will really...
The Costco of QSS.
No engaged target.
Buy them in bulk.
Honestly, I really would prefer mass Mercury treads, because hear me out on the extra stuns that are going to be coming from Kennen, and those are going to be hitting everyone anyways.
Tenacity is that very often overlooked. It's such an invisible mechanic, but you definitely feel it when Kennen is waltzing.
Oh, teleport from Samsung.
Onto Ambition, very, very tanky. Flashes are being used here. Tidal Wave flashed out by Ambition. Ooh. Slicing Maelstrom on 3 members. The shockwave from Crown, and Cloud9 is melting. Impact to the skies and to the backline as he tries to finish Ambition, but it's like he's hitting brick walls left and right. Samsung stay up as 5, and Smoothie is the only one standing for Cloud9.
And that is going to be the Baron. We set it up so long. The all-in from some of Samsung. Champion composition here. They pull it off, teleport in behind, right onto Sneaky, and that is an early Baron.
That was honestly the dream. When we were talking about how this fight could be over in simply 3 seconds, this is exactly it. What a beautiful ward teleport on the Sneaky flash WR from Cuvee. Remember, Kennen doesn't need to tag people anymore with his ulti. As long as they're in range, the W will apply. Crown from the other side. This is the dream fight for Samsung Galaxy. This is what they were looking for so long. They never engaged unless they found the opportunity, and they seize it immediately. And that must be such a big blow here for C9.
And that was honestly one of the first times that Samsung have even had wards in that quadrant of the jungle. Cloud9 kept pink wards up in the river for a very long time. But Samsung, they immediately get those wards in, and then they attack the river as the carries are left alone.
Quickly, 4,000 gold put into the bank account of Samsung Galaxy. 2 kills to Crown there, 2 for Ruler now.
This gives them so much more freedom as well. They're playing against the poke comp. Not only do they have Baron, which means they can hide in the creeps. The creeps no longer die to the poke. The wave clear is useless. They're up 5,000 gold, which means the poke just doesn't hurt that much.
And with their games obviously being the shortest, it's very impressive that Samsung has actually only conceded one dragon throughout, or I'm sorry, one Baron throughout all of Worlds. So they'll probably make the next Barons, if it goes long enough, theirs in this game and push even harder. Impact from the side, can't even get the Shock Blast on, just the blast. And it looks like they're gonna try to back off after it takes just about the team to start clearing these waves.
That's the other thing. It is very difficult to push on a team like Cloud9 are packing with so much extra wave clear and damage here. But yeah, just look at the drop off there. The one play, the all-in play when you are the team that does have that hard engage. Here they come though, looking for the engage again.
Yeah, no flash.
Just
they use
speed up.
movement speed steroids here, just to zone. Get him off the tower. Here, look at how far forward those traps are from Ruler. And then the simple rotation top here. This is what Samsung's looking for. Isolate objectives. Our turrets. Get them more gold boost off the back of that play. Baron power play already at 4.3k.
And it's important for Cloud9 not to overextend trying to defend these secondary turrets, because the gold kind of rubber bands when the team with Baron, it's going to shoot up here as they push down turret after turret after turret. Cloud9 just need to stabilize at their inhibitor turrets. Those are much easier to defend and try and farm off the lanes.
And this is a Baron taken after a 1-5. The Baron power play starts once the Baron is taken. This is a 5,000 gold swing
In addition.
in addition to what was there after the Baron, after they won a fight. So this essentially is a 6,000-7,000 gold play in total for Samsung, just off one good teleport.
We saw that graph. That was just a huge cliff.
The Abyss.
We'll see if they can get themselves out of it. Clouds fly high in this game. Impact still with the good few items to make a hit on Samsung Galaxy. If they can find the poke as Samsung rotates left to right. Unfortunately, Cloud9 has been pushed back almost to the stairs of their base, so they're only making small excursions here out into their jungle, setting wards and then backing up. Some of these wards they can't even defend still, and now it's to the bottom lane for Samsung Galaxy.
10 seconds remain. No more creep buffs, so it's going to be hard to siege because they are running into a poke comp. C9 also got that dragon, so that's triple ocean for them. Did they steal it?
Oh, they just walk out. Not too much of an engage as well from the poke team. They were just looking to get a nice catch on somebody if possible. And the game number one ended just about 3 minutes ago. This one going to go much longer than that as Cloud9 now put on their engage with a tidal wave. The curtain call comes out. That's Azania's and ultimate by Cuvee, pretty much just zoning Cloud9 off any more engage. We see Meteos go down. He's the front line. That's a lot of squishy health bars, and I don't think Samsung will stop on this engage.
Oh.
Crown is tanking. One shield, the second command protect, but it's not enough as Jensen comes through with the perfect fangs to take 2 down.
Both teams a bit over-aggressive there as
Yes.
Cloud9 go for the engage, get turned around on, but then Samsung follow under the turret and Cloud9 gets some redemption kills, actually.
Yeah, the patience from Jensen at the end there flashes out early because he got dragged into that fight by Ambition. The ball placement wasn't perfect. The command attack slightly missed, so they placed the ultimate or the ball router on Ambition, and he was so close to dragging multiple people in there. Only tagged one, and then they kept chasing, even though the cooldowns had already
We'll see it here one more time.
Here it
Jensen
is.
gets grabbed very early. Once this miasma fades out, Ambition's looking for the re-engage of Jensen, drags him in. But the focus isn't there. Jensen flashed out, mostly due to the zoning from Meteos. Kennen ulti only on one target too, so this is all in all a good fight. Look at how close this is. Ooh, Orianna ulti as well.
Good guy Impact taking that ace in the hole as well for Jensen.
And then since Cuvee doesn't have Zhonya's or his ultimate there, very ill-advised tower dive for him and Crown to both go down because of that misstep. That could have been a push all the way into the base if Samsung did not mess that up.
Definitely so.
See the setup for Sneaky there with the curtain call and the follow-up from the rest of the team. Cloud9 still putting up a fight at the front door.
It's really weird. C9 need to get a fight where they poke enough so they can use curtain call early, or poke enough, go for a very short fight, then hunt people down as they run away with the curtain call. Sneaky looking for a position to carry this game here, but at all times and at all costs, C9 need to not repeat what happened earlier. They need to avoid the teleport cannon flank.
And that's so difficult, you know, moving forward. As the map is now bigger and bigger with all of the Cloud9 turrets going down, there's so many areas that they have to worry about wards being in for the TP flanks of Cuvee, for the flash engages of Kennen. And I really need to see the Cloud9 backline actually spread out so that if one of them gets caught with a Kennen ultimate, that's not bad for them. But if all three of them are taking that, and that's going to be the way the team fight crumbles. Oh, impact though.
This played out very differently
Run.
a few minutes ago. Cube's gonna flash forward. Ooh, hits the captive audience. Deadly Flourish keeps him stuck in line as well. That's
But
flash
look-
for a flash.
Woo. Everybody gets out there.
Yeah, Ambition noticed he didn't have anybody behind him and said, all right, I'll come back to mid. We'll push the lane and set everything else up to make sure Baron is ours.
Yeah, we can follow Samsung Galaxy here. They push up mid first. They move into the aim jungle. Look at the sweep from Ambition. He just wants to be aware of what vision is left. Gets his crystal.
Oh.
And then they deny some of the vision that's left in the Baron pit from C9. So a couple pink wards there. Suddenly, Samsung Galaxy with really good vision control.
Yeah, crucially, in that last 1v1, where Impact flashed away, Cube also burned his flash trying to follow. And
Right.
that is a huge team fight tool. The
Yeah.
flash on Impact, not
It's
nearly as important.
enormous.
Right now, though, Samsung want to pull Cloud9 out into the open territory where they can collapse again.
But look, they know their Baron setup might not be perfect. They don't have the flash from Cube. So while C9 desperately or very calmly face checked that area, they trade that for base timings. So C9, they're retaking the Baron area, but Samsung Galaxy is already in base shopping. There's no Baron rush available from C9 because they gotta move up.
Yeah, currently, Cloud9 just want to, keep enough vision around that they don't give away the Baron, without a little bit of pressure. But they also are looking to farm for later in the game. They're trying to make up this gold deficit because right now, Samsung have a lot of extra power.
Yeah. I love the protection that Ambition is getting. He's spearing heading into the jungle. C9 desperately trying to keep it out. They don't want vision in their jungle, but now mid lane is kind of exposed. So Galaxy's gonna hurt the cattle. Move him away. The zone from Ambition is so big. He has that acceleration in him with the Karma Shield. And suddenly, mid lane is exposed.
And watch where the snipers of Cloud9 are going for. Poke onto Cube is the most important. Kennen doesn't get health back.
Using the shield from Karma and from Orianna like a Bloodthirster shield. You see Ruler getting in, already prepping shots on the turret. Smoothie could find himself going down. Ooh, no teammate to get in range, but he's going to be forced back to the base. This gives Samsung time to play.
And it gives them access to mid again. So instead of going the long route, they can now path into the Baron here. They just simply
All right.
walked up and took a base turret here. They traded, they faked out the Baron pressures, and then they just ran straight down mid.
Yeah.
Cloud9 would love to pick up these two big minion waves on the side lanes, and it's up to Samsung here to choose between trying to pressure and make them come away from those minions, or going back for those recalls now that they just got chunked out after that fight. They are giving up the map, and Cloud9 trying to collect some of the money.
Yeah, they love trading minor pressure advantages for bases here. A lot of recalls coming out.
And crucially, before they did go for the recalls, Samsung actually cleared out a bunch of the Cloud9 vision. So now it's this give and take where Cloud9 trying to sneak in, get the Scuttle Crab. This is a very important Scuttle Crab Meteos is after.
Especially since there's not that many guys that can jump over the wall. If you're playing against a team that can actually jump into the Baron pit from behind,
Yeah.
it's a little dangerous, but this is the massive value Scuttle Crab.
Ambition now with his Guardian Angel up as well. Meteos already has his, but that just makes Ambition that
They're
much
starting
more of a
it.
beast.
Because
As
Impact
they
is in the
just
bot lane.
start it.
They just want to bait him in, force him for a decision. They have to come through traps and the zone from an Orianna ball here. Look at how fast this Baron's dropping.
There's a TP coming in. It's a little far behind. Cloud9's going to try to take the fight. Meteos is in by himself. That was they flash in as well. Guardian Angel comes up. He might be able to tunnel down. And he's not even going to be able to tunnel backwards out of the pit. That means they're pinging now from Samsung Galaxy on that mid lane. But we'll see how they go.
That's such a risky play, and considering Meteos also has Guardian Angel, you're giving up even more if you go for that flash steal, which is very low chance of success. But Cloud9, they do disengage without giving over more deaths. However, this is going to be a huge push for Samsung. I think they definitely get inside and get at least one inhibitor.
The great setup right there. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
For Meteos, what's he gonna do right there? He had very little time to make a decision. What a flash!
2 down now. Jensen, 60 seconds on the clock. Smoothie just gets autoed down by Ruler as they follow up with the damage. He's going to go ahead and drop the inhibitor as well. Top lane was being pushed by Ambition, but he joins his team now inside the base. 10+ minutes from game one. Samsung Galaxy looking to make that repeat, and they take down Sneaky before they look once again at the Nexus. 11-4 in game two. The final shots from Ruler to take down the Nexus, and Samsung are up now 2-0.
Samsung looks so impressive, and they're already making this case, threatening the other team, saying we want to go very deep here at Worlds. They want to go all the way to the end.
Yeah, the way they can take a small opportunity and just punish super hard is impressive. There are still holes in the early game though, and if C9 has learned one thing from this game is that they can keep it even until 18-20 minutes into the game, and if they keep that vision swept and they don't allow...
Metis was talking about in a best of series, so hopefully they're on an upward trajectory in this game. They have learned not to, force a lot of those early plays that Cloud9 or that Samsung will turn around.
They definitely are, because in game one they had some of the right plays. They had a roll mid, they had a face check brush, they had a trap combo, and they all failed because C9 was mis-executing their plays. Game two, they were actually taking control of the map. They had the pushes in multiple lanes, they went for Smoothie on a sustained support, and suddenly the pressure started working in their favor. They kept helping Impact, it all tied together, but then they made one massive crucial mistake, and that is the concept. Samsung Galaxy is playing so solid that you can't give them a single breathing room of opportunity.
Truly, that was most definitely a game-winning play to have the teleport flash engage come through and a perfect pincer attack from Samsung. Cloud9 though, that was part of the risk of running that comp that we talked about.
Right. See, the Kennen was the last ban for Samsung Galaxy here in game one. We also saw the Syndra coming from Cloud9 side with a Nidalee ban. Something the analyst desktop maybe something they could do without, but also Nidalee being one of the most picked ban champions here at Worlds. It's a very scary one to leave up.
The most 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Every single game.
Also, a couple little interesting things here. Rumble rising in value. Kennen is banned. Jhin is banned now. Caitlyn rises in value a little bit, as they both actually have prioritized Caitlyn as a second pick when the Jhin is not on the table. Once again, though, Ambition steals away the Olaf.
Karma Caitlyn here would be a good rotation.
Exactly.
Because they rely so much on the movement speed burst. Yes, you can play sustained support in the lane, but the Nami doesn't accelerate the Olaf just quite as much as the Karma does. They already have the one strong range laner of the pairing, in the Jhin Caitlyn pairing. They took the Caitlyn, so this is a really good opening draft for C9. And they look to be playing a similar style as game two. Maybe we can see more help for Impact.
Definitely a possibility. Plus, I feel like the value of a first pick Olaf is not very high at all. You talked about the synergies that he has with other champions, but the difference between the Olaf in the early game and the Rek'Sai hasn't been as big because both these junglers do focus so heavily on the farm and have not gone for those super brutish plays of just running through a lane with Ghost on.
I would love to see an Elise here actually just lock in the early Orianna, get the Elise back from Meteos, play towards the top side of the map here. You know that Orianna outscales. You can punish Cassio early because she moves in a very defined pattern when she trades.
She's a snake. She has to serpentine, zigzag back and forth, Grempo. Honestly, though, that is a good thing that you bring up because it's a thought that a lot of the fans of Cloud9 have had is Meteos, whenever he's streaming, I see him on this Elise so often, and yet he doesn't pick it in pro play. Doesn't go for these super early aggressive Elise games because I don't know, maybe they feel like it falls off too much later. They don't have the confidence in it, later in the team fighting phase, but for whatever reason, it hasn't been there, even though every time you turn into a stream, he's 10-1 on Elise.
The safety of kind of counter jungling with that Rek'Sai in the early game, dip in and out in tunnels, or slingshot in and out in tunnels if it's a possibility here this game. It looks like the Orianna will be one of those lock-ins, but does the Zac attack come back in game three? Not yet. Swap off. It was just a hover. We always get baited. It's Jace for Impact.
I do like the Zac attack towards Cassiopeia in the mid lane for the same reasons that you just mentioned for the Elise Greppo. So it is definitely still an option. And I like the mind games of hovering it, but I don't think they're going to lock it in.
Watch Cube steal away the Zac top lane right now. But the Orianna ball can always drop too. That's a strong combination there as well with the Zac. They're just looking at the other picks here, see if they have any hard counters. Poppy would be a blocker, honestly. For Zac, Steadfast Presence is incredibly easy.
The other thing that, to me, has been kind of undervalued for all these Poppy players at Worlds, like, it's so incredibly important to have multiple ways, multiple tools to end out the games. And the Keeper's Verdict, Poppy ult, is so good at pushing down turrets later in the game when you get up into this kind of stalled out 30-minute game, either knocking back their wave clear, pushing somebody out. It's so good at pushing towards turrets. And we have actually seen a decent amount of players utilize that.
All right, Meteos. What you gonna do going to be the Zac. We definitely need an element of aggression here. C9 have a matchup in the top lane that can definitely push. They have a bot lane that can fend for itself, especially now that the melee support has been locked in. Early game, Jensen will lose the pressure, but if Cloud9 play around topside like they did game 2, they definitely have a way into this game. Samsung Galaxy, again, looking for the mid game. Really big spike there.
And I think that's key. You have to play off of your strengths. You go super aggressive, get an early game in there, early game jungler in there, early ganks to try and get these offensive picks that they've already got off the table. I mean, they've got all range champions at the moment, and that is very good when you have a gold lead, when you have the threat of all this damage and the items to purchase, but they're going to need some early game to really run off of.
I thought it was just the hover happiness, if you will. Get the crowd to cheer, bring the spirits back up, but he does lock in the Zac. It will be part of the game. There's much more of a delivery now for Jensen as well. But it might be the all-in that's cost Cloud9 games before if they can't hit it right. It's going to be a tough one. Samsung Galaxy looking strong with the comp they brought before, except for that Poppy in the top. A bit more speed from the bottom lane, and we saw the B-roll of Core JJ on that Tahm Kench being aggressive with Ruler. Cloud9 now going to try their hand back on the red side in Game 3.
Yeah, crowd believes they're still in it. Really keen to see if Samsung can continue this dominance, because we were talking about ways of how does C9 get back in. What's the way in for them? But honestly, we can't understate just how impressive Samsung have looked. So constant in the mid game.
Definitely, and one of the scariest things is that they're running a very similar style here, where they are going to have that engage advantage. And to me, it's very important that that Samsung are one of the teams that have recognized that about Olaf. Oh my goodness, the Karma's been taken away. We don't have that speed. We need to get the Sivir. That might sacrifice some pressure bottom lane though for Cloud9 and open up an area of the map that has been dominated by Ruler and Core JJ.
All right, Cloud9 looking to keep these quarterfinal hopes alive with the back against the wall. Samsung Galaxy on game point as we head into our third match. Hashtag SSG win. Hashtag C9 win. Show your support over on Twitter. We'll see how you're voting as we get into this game. Cloud9 once again to reset their minds, start all over, and for the fans, hopefully start that reverse sweep.
And last game we had Poke and Siege versus Big on teamfight. Right now it's honestly 2 teamfight compositions.
Yep.
In the mid game.
All right, let's start prepping this Zac stuff, because
I mean, I've got a jungler on the desk here.
Zac, so I talk about the bottom lane being incredibly important.
I do that enough already. You talk about Zac.
Kobe's got the mic.
But we can combine our powers, because if the Sivir Tahm Kench try and get one of those shoves, try and get control of the minion wave, which is going to be difficult, Zac has so many ways to gank the bottom lane. We always talk about mid lane, but from that position where Sneaky's standing, if you move just a little bit down, it's very easy for Zac to hop over that wall as well and try and punish the Samsung bottom lane. It's a little bit telegraphed to always go mid as Zac, because everybody's always expecting it, and you do see the shadow on the ground. So mid laners are very used to looking for that shadow of the Zac Elastic Slingshot. However, a lot of duo laners are not quite used to it.
It is good though, because when these guys start trading in the mid lane, we saw just how long a trade could go on.
Oh, yes.
In the Orianna Cassiopeia matchup. And even if he's not there, if you're playing against a Zac and you're trading onto 20%, you can bet you're going to flash.
It is going to change the way the mid lane is played, right? I talked about the psychological profiling of each other a little bit earlier in the last game. We've determined that both Crown and Jensen are very unwilling to back down and will go trading blow for blow down to 100 health.
For Crown, he will have to burn that flash early because of the implication. The implication of a Zac gank. And here, good early zone. This is what you got to do. You step behind the range keep. Now Smoothie's left behind by his AD carry because he wants CS. Luckily, not a big punish. Look how slow they're pushing. You don't hit the minions here. You maximize uptime before level 2.
Denying a few.
Yeah, Corsair wants to walk in with the minion wave. He's escorting Ruler in, but once this wave settles, you'll see both of them walk up right now. That's what they're doing, because they're not giving him any CS. They force to Devour early, so no QE start either.
It's a long cooldown on Devour as well.
And it's really big, because a good Tahm Kench player wants to start Q into Poke and then put an early point into Grey Shield after, never even skilling Devour. So C9 pressure is big already.
They're able to get onto Ruler as well. See how much they can still pressure this. 10-1 in CS, but it's a big wave to clean up for,
Now,
for Ruler.
as a jungler, you have to read the way this bottom lane is going as well. This Scuttle Crab in the river becomes incredibly important.
Yep.
Meteos should make a beeline for it. He is going to get that alone time with the crab, so that just means that there's one area that Cloud9 bottom lane have to ward to be safe.
And that means one checkbox is done in the river, which means your ward, which usually goes in the middle of the river, can now be placed in Tri-Brush, and we could actually see Smoothie or Sneaky run for that. Look how Ambition is not even considering ganking bot. He's like, no, we're done, so we're pushed in. I haven't seen that Scuttle Crab. He's 90% sure that is down anyways. So CoreJJ and Ruler are playing on an island. He can't even CS. He's in the belly of his support right now.
And this is what I talked about in Champ Select. Even though you pick out the Sivir for the speed later in the game, it might open up an area on the map for Cloud9 to actually pressure. They have not really pushed on any of these pressure points of Samsung. They've been very scared after that first game where they got beaten so badly, but this is a definite opportunity. Meanwhile, top lane, Impact by himself in the 1v2.
Ambition went in, saw red, knows he's going to have some free time top as Meteos will be on the bottom, who just delivered blue buff over to Jensen, but Samsung trying to start things off early.
As safe as the bottom lane is for Cloud9, the top lane is extremely vulnerable up here with Jace now not having flash and Poppy being so good at setting up ganks here. The flash from Poppy can be used to stun into the wall.
Good communication too. So they know bot lane is under an island router, but won't get gold. He passed into the enemy jungle, bypassing the ward spot, Ambition that is, and then moves top lane for a really good gank. Impact went for the escape play, but burns his summoner doing so.
Yeah, and now the thing is, for Impact, you can actually just try and CS at your turret. You got your minion wave pushing towards you in a good spot, and knowing that you don't have your flash now, try and play a little bit more conservatively. I know also, talking to a lot of the top laners, the challenger top laners, Zig specifically, did not think that the Poppy Jace matchup went in Jace's favor simply because Poppy can build so much tank and it becomes very difficult to deal damage to him. Azael and Zig on that top lane stream went pretty in depth in it actually if you want to go back and check out all they had to say.
Definitely, but the tradition of Poppy at Worlds has been losing by 30 CS, keeping it at 30 CS for a while, and then building tank. Right now Sneaky getting approached to the lane. Look at it, they're luring Ambition out. This is not a gank. This is a reset play. You just want to move up with the jungler, get rid of the minion wave, but even 3v2, there's so much folks. Smoothie is not afraid.
It's the tether almost locking down Ruler, and all of the team is forced to walk away on that one.
First turret gold is such a big objective in the current state of the game that having a winning bottom lane, winning this much, is such an asset. Now they bring down Meteos just for that turret gold.
Loving it, and they revealed Ambition in the bot lane, which means Impact, his wave was being purposely bounced in the top lane. Look at the support here. Murica. Yeah, this wave bounced. Poppy let it bounce back to try and punish Impact, but the second Ambition backed up from the top lane, Impact had a pre-push, but right now he's in danger.
Oh, the verdict is in! Cuve, first blood!
Again, Cuve kills Impact all by himself.
I thought that was going completely backwards. Impact had set up a giant wave that Cuve fought in, took so much damage, and then said, the wave's gone. Let's fight again. Here now in the mid lane, calls down the Reckoning Swing, and now this is going to be a kill onto Jensen. Flash goes down as well, and Crowns is still up.
C9 not aware of the cross map. They had their jungler doing so much work on that turret, but they pushed up aggressively. Impact could have just shoved in and left the lane. That's enough. He doesn't have to stay that deep. What an outplay top lane, and then Jensen also overextending.
The hugest part of League right now. Okay, well let's take another look at this because
I mean, it's quite simple.
He hits level 6.
Shouldn't be there.
Goes into Taxi on the minion. Boom.
That was sick play though. That was pretty nice.
Got lollipop.
Honestly though, what we're going to talk about is when you do have, as you say, the winning side of the map there, bottom lane, you commit your jungler, you have to retract the resources that you have on the other side of the map. The solo lanes have to realize that they're outnumbered on the other side of the map. Even though Cloud9 are gaining this big advantage on the bottom side, they continue to play super aggressively with both solo laners, and they both go down. Here we go, though. Cloud9 team play.
Nice tether. Right as Steadfast Presence falls, and Meteos flies right through Eagle Eye, helping the team get the kill.
Punish him for using that flash on Impact. And Meteos easily able to land it there.
Damn, it almost looked like Smoothie gave away the play by running up early, but the
Rinse and
Meteos
repeat?
timing was so perfect. That was like frame perfect. I don't think he could put any earlier.
So we did talk about his experience on Elise. Everybody remembers the Meteos Zach in his debut in the LCS many years ago. Cloud9's most dominating era.
But did Poppy even exist back then? The new Poppy?
Doesn't matter what the target is, land the slingshot.
Was able to come up with the King of the Jungle moniker, so he keeps that one going. He can come back here. It could be the reverse sweep for Cloud9, but it's a lot of work. We're going to start here. 2 games to Samsung already, and again, Cloud9 has not hesitated in the early game to start things off. And they now try to put themselves in the lead. 2K, well, 2.7K.
14 CS in the dual lane matchup league. There's Jensen pushing. This trade right now is going okay for Impact. There's 1, 2, 3 pink wards in the river.
Yep.
Top side is in complete control. The Samsung Galaxy is desperately trying to counter that by doing bot lane invades.
Yep, definitely hard for Meteos to fight the 1v1, but he does have the advantage of his solo laners coming pretty quickly. Meanwhile, topside.
Ooh, very nice trap going out. Good dodge as well by Core JJ as they get Ruler to safety. In the bottom half of the map now is trying to be lit up by Samsung Galaxy, as well as give Meteos a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, very,
Slide on the
very big steal there for Ambition to actually get that blue buff.
Yep.
Really empowers Olaf's clear speed and the threat that he can bring to that 1 versus 1. Meteos can never fight this Olaf in a 1 versus 1, so has to be very careful with the vision that they do fight. Also opens up Ambition to most definitely hand that blue buff of Samsung's own over to Crown. Top side, though, is the next target.
They saw him. They got to run. They see CoreJJ would never walk up, so he's kind of giving it away.
You're absolutely correct. That change in positioning gave it away, but it doesn't matter. Samsung Galaxy going straight under the turret with the denial from Tahm Kench, and they just eat up Ambition.
Ambition just, he ran by the mid lane in full vision into the enemy jungle here. This is
also threw up his flare.
a collapse in communication here. Good E from Sneaky, but this is definitely a misplay from C9 as a team. Should never die to that gank.
Definitely has been one of the issues for Cloud9 is playing defensively, giving up CS in an area of the map that they know that they're outnumbered on or know that there's a possibility of a Samsung play.
And Ambition, he's the guy keeping Samsung in the game. Their bot lane is drowning, asking for help. He says, nope, hang in there. Goes for the cross map, takes away enemy blue buff, then runs top, gets a kill.
It was critical that the kill credit did go over to Ruler as well, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep that pick as a first priority. Olaf, and it's been coming up big. Beautiful flash by Crown. Actually dodges all of the engage, not even slowed there.
Quick double summoner burn there from Cloud9. And remember how important the vision around the mid lane is going to be for the way that those 2 mid laners like to play.
Yep. Yeah. Takes a lot longer for that flash and ghost to come back up, so there might be possibility of another attack for C9. This Crown is going to go ahead and pick up blue. They'll get an idea of where Ambition is on the map as he still hovers topside. But Core JJ, looks like he's going to start getting wards around and start making it a little easier for Samsung to find engages.
And that mid lane, even though they're timing this with a Jensen recall, could be a jungler support gank as Smoothie is there.
Yeah, but the Abyssal Voyage comes in. Unfortunately, Meteos has to bounce out on that one. They are keeping that clock going for engages, and it never goes too long before we see Cloud9 engage again to try and get this game in their favor.
But that's Crown. Folks out on the mid lane right there. While having blue buff, Ruler right now going to be challenged. Another Devour.
CoreJJ with a lot of key saves here. Jensen, though,
very far pushed up, not expecting QV from the bot lane, but the presence of junglers throws this one just off balance. Everybody backs off.
And that is a matchup I want to revisit because Azael and Ziggs conversation was so interesting in the 1 versus 1 matchup of the Poppy Chase. That was a roam from QV after pushing up the lane. He's getting to the tanky point. He doesn't even have the boots yet, though. And we'll have to see if Impact can actually pressure in the split push, because we talk about how Jace can take down turrets so quickly. He does have the Black Cleaver.
To the skies, damage denied in the bot lane. A little back and forth love taps for the top side. Nobody's fully engaging on this one. As Impact goes for those power shots, does not finish it with the shot blast.
And look how confidently he's playing that matchup, even though there's
Absolutely.
no vision for impact. So that is such a scary thing to do, trading like that versus a champion that also has more CC than you do. All right, here we go mid lane though. Jensen dodges the first axe and the second. 2 for 2.
Yeah, a lot of these corner ganks coming out. Another same play here. Has to be careful if the ultimate there sticks from the Poppy. There's a good chance Impact has to flash.
Impact actually drawing attention of the jungler as well. Ambition down to the bottom side, walks over the ward, and Impact gonna give that one up.
Yeah, and the same thing can't happen in the top lane. Midas has been spotted out. He's having a very hard time committing. Looking for counter jungle instead because they just quite can't go for the dive. Exhaust and double flash available on Ruler and CoreJJ. They're holding on. There is a teleport though. If Impact Bases switches the side of the map, they could go for a 4v2 dive, hoping that Cube is late.
Double pink lane on the first 1-2 pick here for Cloud9 and that Caitlyn Karma. They want it to be able to come out strong. They want to be able to use sneaky towards this late game, scale the Orianna up as well. They have time in this game, but I don't know if Samsung is going to give it to him.
Ghost is up on Crown, but no flash. Medius is in prime position, looking for a gank out of Fog of War. Here he goes.
Right onto Crown. Flash is still down.
Miscommunication.
Shockwave as well, as Jensen tried to follow up a little short on the command protect. Good heal pushed out of Ruler there as Sneaky goes hard.
So the thing there is that Mios did not want to follow that gank under the turret because of the possibility of Petrifying Gaze, you know, killing him under it. But he does have the Zac passive where you can die and just for getting off that shockwave. The possibilities, though, because they don't have vision, are super risky, right? They don't have full confidence that they can finish off that kill, and it is a risky play to go for.
Oh, that deal no damage.
It looks like he's healing him. That's unfortunate for him back there in the top side. His turret's going to be falling quite soon. Cloud9 does already have that turret in their favor, which is why they've swapped Sneaky and Smoothie, but it looks like it may be evened up here as QV just needs about one more minion wave at the turret.
It seems so frustrating to play against Samsung Galaxy. They always rubber band in the mid game, so you got to stretch them so thin that they snap before you get there. But so far, C9 hasn't been able to do that. He got up around 1,000 gold early with some good moves. And the potential to get up in the first game too with some really great roams, but they couldn't quite execute them. The last two ganks in the mid lane failed too here, so as a team, C9 still have work to do. Looking at this next tower, the lane gank from Medius could be the counter. Look.
Nice try, but he comes out just on the left of the Abyssal Voyage, not on the Cupcake. Sneaky's the focus here. They're going to go ahead and get a quick kill over to Ambition. Now over to Smoothie. Ambition very close to going down, and the Boomerang cuts Sneaky down. They're trying to exit the fight now. The teleport does not come in from Impact. It is, however, a double kill for Medios. They might be able to follow this. He's too low to dive, even with the passive.
Here comes Crown, though, and he's
Crown, a good angle to cut this off. If he gets a miasma in, it could finish up some damage.
Slip and slide!
Exactly how it happened. Another flash as Jensen and Crown basically in the same mindset of the attack. Who's first? Looking for the buckler. Cuvée not even going for the shield. He goes instantly for the kill. Could be eat up. Yes, it's going to be CoreJJ once again to deny the kill, and now they're on the blobs. Coming up so huge from cross map, Samsung Galaxy basically wipes out Cloud9.
CoreJJ with some massive devours in that fight, buying so much time. Even the miraculous double kill wasn't enough. This is just some stalling right here. C9 is looking at the turret, not at the kills.
Exactly. After all of these kills have gone down, Cloud9, because they died earlier, get to be out on the map again and look for the objective. Oh, he's too tanky, man.
Yeah, you gotta do
He's actually too tanky.
You gotta do the short version of that quote.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the benefit of full armor stacking since he was in Jace's lane. Doesn't take much damage from either of those abilities. Cloud9, though, do claim the objective afterwards.
Yeah, let's see. Well, that was a beautiful exchange of abilities. It all starts CoreJJ delivering the Olaf. I don't think Sneaky quite expected to get out. Counter gank is great, but it's so hard for Sneaky to get out of Ambition's range right there. Good reach from Medios, though. Again, Devour right here. Super good from CoreJJ. But Medios realizes he can win that play.
Cuvée has been...
see that it was Cuvée from that topside fight.
Cuvée has been so big for Samsung. I mean, he interrupts the Jace, then he's going to be able to teleport after finishing that turret. He got so much for Samsung in that last play.
Yeah, we didn't see the good shockwave from Jensen, knowing that would force Crown's flash. But in this matchup, it's always a two-part trade. First shockwave gets the flash, the second one at least zones him out or kills him.
Yeah, you take that trade every single time. And now it's up to them to punish, because Crown does have Ghost, but no flash available.
Cuvée right back to work on the top turret. Gold pretty much even after all of this chaos. But
Yeah.
the 3 kills are onto Meteos, so he's still going to have to be very, very big here in the upcoming fights for Cloud9. Kills spread across Cuvée, Ambition, and Ruler. Looking much better for Samsung Galaxy, but Cloud9 has still been able to find their ends in these fights.
Both junglers centered around the top lane right now.
And remember, in those trades, Impact wants the extended trade so he can build up the Black Cleaver stacks,
Right.
and he can whittle them down, get those auto attacks in as Cuvé's trying to run away from the trade, whereas Cuvée, he wants the short trades. He can do it under the shield of the Buckler, going with the combo, and then just disengage.
Ambition stole the Skullo Crab right there. There was push up in the bot lane. Samsung keeping the map open.
Yeah.
They want to use that Tahm Kench. They pop on the hunt, it seems.
Actually, a flood of vision there for them as well. Meteos on the chase, but Olaf ultimately will keep Ambition safe. Meanwhile, bottom side,
And they commit to the objectives here. C9 clear out the minion waves. That leaves mid exposed, but C9 opting for more defense. That's the power of that vision that you just mentioned. So hard for them to get out. Meteos still committing.
Yeah, the team is just behind him. The speed up not there. They do actually have a lot of catch potential in that Dissonance and Karma Shield. So there's the potential for those to work if everybody is on board with the play. It was just that Cloud9 was a bit too far back on the slingshot length. 160 to 165. Impact and Cuvée meet back up in the top lane as Cuvée is going to start finishing more items, or I should say getting his recipes.
but because they ran Samsung off of the bottom side and Meteos kept up the delayed chase,
Yep.
you delay the back. I don't know if they'll be able to finish off the turret, but they're working towards it. Here comes Samsung for the engage.
Yeah, they have a lot of zone though, and they have enough damage to actually burn Ambition down. Meteos can re-engage here. Smoothie gets tagged. That's the flash.
Calling for Shockwave. And the Devour. It was almost like if this one hits, we might take it, throw the Miasma down, and Smoothie looked like a good target. Flash down on him, and maybe something that Ambition can work on after. You make sure to get the counter jungling while he has time.
Yeah, that's the thing with landing poke onto Olaf. He heals so quickly in the jungle. He can easily go right back to full here and then rejoin the siege. It's up to Sneaky and Smoothie now to try and clear.
Yeah, but they're using their abilities for poke, not for wave clear. That's because Meteos is lurking around.
Whoa!
Good eat up by Core JJ, making sure none of the poison was actually triggered into that turret damage. And they get out safely after the Let's Bounce. Meteos saving the turret as well.
Core JJ on this Tahm Kench.
playing
Ridiculous amount of saves on teammates with the Devour so far. He is always there. And even with that quick trap placement there from Sneaky, Tahm Kench was the one who ate that as well. Gobbling up everything and keeps Crown safe. Now they're going in on Sneaky though.
If he can get to Sneaky, actually Steadfast Presence wears off. It's Smoothie. Smoothie's flash just went down. The rinse and repeat works. And that's the verdict as well that calls for Sneaky to go down on the engage.
Cuvée, such a dirty Poppy player. He reads the flash E perfectly and then knocks Sneaky into the tower, goes for the finish ulti on 2 targets, and then finishes off Sneaky. That was super well played. This guy is so aware of when he can actually knock people into walls.
And the first dragon of the game, a little neglected, but they finally get to it after all the fights. A cloud over to Samsung Galaxy, and we'll see this engage one more time.
Yep. Pretty big engage here. As you mentioned, Cuvée, he was looking at Sneaky the entire time and lands the stun right there, able to get the double plus a lot of pressure there for Samsung. Cloud9 though, they're still in this one. Still definitely have the possibility for the big Zac slingshot into the Shockwave. That's what people are looking for.
Now we got to go back to champs like when we talked about, you know, what do these team composition want to do, and it's all about team fighting. And C9's way to win this game is to get Elastic Slingshot that doesn't get interrupted, and combined with a big Shockwave. It's very hard because there's always that Devour from Core JJ.
And on top of that, Zac is one of the most vision-reliant junglers. He's right up there with Fiddlesticks, where you really have to control your defensive true sight to clear out enemy wards so that they don't see you charging up. If they see you channeling Elastic Slingshot, there's 0% chance that you're going to hit somebody. There's a high % chance that they'll bait you in and they have flashes ready and they'll counter you.
Words out of my
So
mouth.
be very, very cautious.
Ambition lurking around the corner. Sneaky has to be so careful here. Does not see him coming.
Well, there's the hit. Okay, so Crown, Sneaky's having a trouble. He doesn't even get any help because this was so sporadic by Samsung Galaxy to the top side. C9 thought they could protect this one, but it's going to be Meteos going down as well. The passing will give him a little bit more trouble. They're going to feed this one over. TP in from Impact.
It's actually moving, so it works.
Yep. We're going to see how they get it. Meteos is going to stay alive a little bit longer. Good damage coming in from the Soul Flare from Smoothie, but it's not enough to finish anybody off. It just gives Samsung more time to turn around and find the priority target. 3 members of Cloud9 down as turret number 3.
Every time I've actually seen a teammate use teleport on a Zach Blob, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, remember, you can teleport on blobs. They haven't gotten the kill. Here goes Impact flashing on Ruler, though.
Nice job by Ruler to spell shield the knockaway, but there's still enough follow-up damage. That's all that Impact is building as he goes for the kill there. Cuvee looking to push these guys out, but they all go right on him. Cuvee's already known the core JJ's coming in, and that's going to be Impact having to flash. Already did, cannot get over the wall as he attempted to actually to the skies over to one of the Raptors.
Oh, no!
Oh. He says hello, he says goodbye.
Says who's next?
Says who's next.
Meteos is
Sneaky as well throwing it up because he says, yeah, my team's right here. Let's see how long you can fight for ambition. How ambitious are you? And that one goes to Jensen.
And it leaves chip damage on the mid lane turret here. Crown pushing up, Samsung in control. Meteos flying from the jungle again. It's all on Meteos right now. He needs to find these openings the same way Ambition is picking people off. Samsung is honestly reading the game so well that they're predicting where C9 is going to go, and they're always waiting in a trap here. This play was so beautiful.
I know, the vision set up here from Samsung. They take out Sneaky, only gets off maybe 3 autos the entire time. And then Cloud9, Meteos does defend decently under the turret here with Smoothing coming in to try and add some damage. But so many times we see, these teleports channeled only for them to be canceled and the Zac to die anyway.
It's a super cool interaction though, because the blob stays in the same place, but in essence it is actually still moving. So people expected the movement to be the indicator of when Meteos comes out of his passive, but it's actually timer.
Yeah.
So he will jump out and always catches people slightly off guard.
And if, Cuvee had not interrupted that teleport and stopped Impact, that would have been the damage they needed to clean up those extra couple kills. So once again, it feels like we just return over and over to these plays from Cuvee, even though he's not
aware. And coming into Worlds, it was kind of like Cuvee plays safe in the top. They'll be fine if he just kind of farms and doesn't die. But he is literally putting up play after play and not even really taking enough damage to go down in these fights. Hasn't had to really flash away.
Even like that,
off in time.
It looks so easy, but he activates Salty right before that knock comes out from Jace, or mid-knock, because otherwise the channel gets cancelled here. So he's such a great Poppy player. On a champion with a relatively easy kit, he's definitely maxing out and getting the most out of it. He was one of the top laners that also killed Someday there over in Korea. But that achievement became less and less positive because everybody was killing Someday. But he's definitely showing up at Worlds. What a consistently strong top laner. But both performing on carries and utility now with the Poppy.
Consistent as well through 3 games of this quarterfinal best of 5 and live damage dealt. This is still happening. This is throughout the full game, and El Poppy right near the top of the list.
Okay, Cloud9 now actually for the first time really have a pretty good cooldown advantage there. Olaf in the late game without his ultimate and without the ghost, super, super low impact. And we'll see if Cloud9 can actually force anything around this cooldown timer. The Vision War has been very important, so clearing these wards out is not a small thing, and it is definitely going to be a boon for them as far as the mid-game team fight.
It's only a minute of a window of a minute on that Olaf ultimate though. 63 seconds is the cooldown right now. Sneaky, no, not again. Any wards. I just relate. I've been that guy that's face check so often. You don't want people to. Once or twice is enough. 3 times, it just hurts.
Well, that fear comes back each time now. Sneaky knows he can't get too close. It's either going to be a trap or a ward before him in these next instances. 4K lead here for Samsung Galaxy as they start to encroach on Cloud9's jungle and move their wards in as well.
But they're reading the game so well, always challenging areas, forcing people to face check at least, maybe burn wards, kill them immediately. They're so aware of their surroundings right now, choking out the vision, and again, setting up for another free objective.
And even though Samsung have a composition where they can dive because they have triple tanks and a top 10 to devour anyone who gets low, they're not the type of team to really take a huge risk. So they just get the very easy Drake, move up for the turret, objective first. Impact!
Impact between a Poppy, a Rock, a Hard Place, as well as a Tom Kench. And he goes down as the second tier in bot lane falls. Samsung Galaxy once again at the doorstep of Cloud9's base, sub 30 minutes.
Yeah, people were about to say, what about no risk? But that wasn't risk because they saw the Caitlyn in the top lane. So that looked deep, but it was very calculated at the same time. They're always aware of where all the enemy dots are on the minimap. And then they high percentage plays that are guaranteed to work, if not, blow summoners.
Exactly, the informed decision there. Not going to cost them anything at all. They do get the Drake. They do get the turret. On top of it, they also get the cake. Killed Impact.
Can't have the cake too.
The Drake and the cake.
2 Clouds over to Samsung Galaxy. Ambition's loving the speed to keep these undertows going. And he'll be cross-map every single chance he gets. Looking to sweep wards and also set up a nice bait around Baron.
Yeah, and they're
Just for
building
you.
They're building this comp around Ambition to speed him up in these team fights. They even took such a large hit in the 2v2 matchup, but he's making him pay dividends here. Tag team here, 1 in, 1 out.
Yep, 1 in, 1 out. Perfect way to call it. Sneaky, just too close right now to Cuvée, and that means death mostly. The reset attack by Ruler to make sure he gets another one in. And the boomerang didn't even need to come across, as he said, duck. A flash and a heal blown by Sneaky. And it's just going to be that much easier for Samsung Galaxy to find their priority targets as they're pushing so fast before these flashes even come back up.
Yeah, it looks like the stress is getting to C9 there because that was technically a flashable play before he got knocked into the wall. Cuvée so decisive here. And now in a 45 scenario, Meteos flies in.
Meteos is in. There's the Let's Bounce. He's right on top of Cuvée. Core JJ very low. Thick skin and shield as well to get himself out with that face of the mountain. And Baron is going to live a little bit longer, as well as the rest of Cloud9. And with Sneaky being down, awesome play by C9.
Impact's not finished. He wants to get blood.
Can he do it? He's going to waste a shot there. Almost looking for to the skies. Can he get that E shot in? Pushes Ambition to the right, switches around. The empowered auto is enough, and he finds the kill.
What a great hold by C9. It looked almost impossible. Jensen did not go for the early trigger on the Shockwave. He moved his ball first, placed it on Meteos, then moved it with the command attack, got a 3-man Shockwave, and then Meteos, right before he was about to drop, flashes out of the pit.
Zac inside the pit with the extra Baron damage, with the Shockwave. Cloud9
Getting to this Baron.
They're going to have to burn it down. There's not a whole lot of damage here as well. Be very careful. It's 4 members. Ambition doesn't have to be up for this fight. And it is going to be very, very low. Cannot even get in range of Crown for the poison. Whoa! Going down. Very, very close from Impact to get himself a kill, but he falls in the Baron pit with Baron damage. Now they're on to Smoothie, and now they're going for Jensen still. Can he get a dissonance on? There's no mana, and Cuvé's on the chase. Meteos goes down in the back of the fight as we swing back to the Tri-Brush, and it's going to be a few more attacks. He puts the Protect on. That's a lot of damage coming from the hit. Throws up the C9 Shiner, and he makes it out alive.
Ooh, that is going to be a Samsung Baron, but you can see what Cloud9 were thinking there. They were like, we have the window. We killed the jungler. You know, they got a lot of the vision down, so they're going to try and burn it and hope that Samsung were a little slow on their recalls. They got the Baron down to 3,000 health, but Samsung arrived, they chase him off, and now they're going to be the ones marching towards the inhibitor turrets.
The start of the call was fine, but right here, I think Meteos is actually going to leap out of the pit, and that's what questions.
He got
knocked.
He got ejected.
Okay.
Not his choice.
Meteos is excused.
Why did he slingshot out?
Yeah, I was like, why did he go out? That was such a good re-engage. So that's actually, again, Cuvée. Knocks one guy into the wall and Impact, knocks the jungler out. This combo was
Great
dirty
combo.
from time, but it was just a little bit too late.
That
Jensen with
heal
the
from
outplay.
Ruler put just enough health back on to Crown and himself to stay alive for Meteos.
Damn, Cuvé's playing so well on his Poppy. Now, obviously, Olaf was not there in the last fight. And Sneaky may as well not have been there. He got early miasma on him, and while he was spamming his E key, you could see he was kind of gap goals, but he wasn't moving. He realized he was on miasma, took a few steps backward. By that point, he was already on 20% HP. No impact on the fight here. Really good target selection from Samsung. Divide and conquer.
Meteos and Cuvée and Wet Noodle fighting on the left side. Ruler's got himself a baroned up minion wave with help from Core JJ and Ambition, and that's going to be an inhibitor turret as well. When Samsung has made it in the base, Samsung has stayed for the long haul. It looks like they will play this one safe. They do not want to chance anything. The Sneaky right now trying to put as much damage on as he can to make sure they don't come back on this time around.
Yeah, crowd favorite C9 taken down here. I do hope that we get some cheers for the Samsung lineup.
Absolutely.
They're playing incredibly crisp.
Good play, always to be respected. And Samsung, very unlikely, as we even heard from the analyst desk and Papa Smithy, to be in this position after having to beat KT Rolster 0-16 throughout the season and find their wins. And then it was really undecided what would happen, but they are deciding for a lot of people right now. Samsung is.
Looks like Cloud9 are thinking about pulling the trigger on this tower defense, chunking out Ambition. They also have Meteos waiting up on the top side.
He is split from Jensen though, so you can't look for the ball combo, but they have to, because if when Jensen and Meteos play at the same time, it is too easy of a read, so they need to take a different page out of the playbook. Right now, Ambition being poked.
Seeing if he has to blow that Ragnarok. Actually doesn't have it, so he uses the Ghost. May turn around to fight here for a second. And Ambition, he just came back up, and he goes back down.
Every kill is important for Cloud9 trying to get back into this game. And they're closing in on Ruler next. Meteos has a line of sight.
Oh, he gets juked.
Oh, a little bit of a dodge there. Puts on the fancy feet, and Core JJ's with him to go for impact. They get that hit.
Watch
and
out
they
for
get
Cuvee.
that summoner heal from Sneaky as well for the movement speed on top of it.
I'm really liking the aggression that Ruler decides to put out. Sometimes he's not afraid to dash in or step in aggressively for skill shots, but he does it in a calculated way. Reminds me of a smarter Vasily. Vasily always used to dodge aggressively, but he never not dodged aggressively.
Gotta mix it up a little bit there.
Ruler definitely mixes it up.
All right, Meteos actually going on a one-man Drake Steel mission here, it looks like.
Not even taking damage as Crown hits that with his spell vamp. It looks like they're going to go ahead and be able to push Meteos out. Crown will go back to soloing out this Mountain Drake. And that'll be Dragon number 3 here as Ruler comes by for a few hits, and he says thank you.
By the way, just an update for Cloud9 side. Meteos on the Zac, full tank Zac, actually has the most damage dealt to champions for Cloud9, which is saying a lot considering they're running the 3 carry team comp once again.
Now, is that a good thing?
Well,
Or a bad thing?
people are always surprised by
Who
Zac
knows?
damage. And as a tank, you get a lot of mileage out of your tank items by staying in the fights for a very long time. Also, you get focused last. So a lot of that comes from them killing Sneaky very early. So Sneaky's going to be down very often. And people, you know, not trying to disengage from the Zac damage. So you get a lot of AoE. You get a lot of long duration fights with which to get off. But it just also speaks to the importance that he's going to have in their defense here. Their last attempt.
And you can see Samsung Galaxy also playing around. That ward on your screen right there is the blocker for any flank engages.
Yep.
Meteos almost has to hide behind a little bit of rubble there. There is a way to hide out of line of sight there, but it's very hard to do so.
They just ping the bottom wave. They know C9 is going to have to spread themselves thin if they want to save damage on that bottom Nexus turret, but it's about the fight. Can they find one here?
And for C9, they need to make Samsung forget about the Orianna ball. They need to move them out left and right and then pray that the Orianna ball surprises them with a shockwave. Ruler is no spell shield right now, so technically he could eat the Zac combo. C9 so tense right now. One more inhib means very likely that the game is over, so you could definitely see them set up to pull the trigger right now. They're aware of this. 10,000 gold deficit. Meteos, you can hear him channel. He's going
To the side, spell shield goes up. Will be eaten up inside Core JJ. They keep him safe. Cuve's taking the brunt of everything from Cloud9, and the rest of the members take it out, make it out pretty healthy. Now they look for the mid-side turret.
Jensen did save his shockwave there, didn't blow it on the engage. Meteos takes a lot of damage moving towards mid though.
Yeah, Samsung always posturing away from C9. They keep him very split. They kept the Ambition in the mid lane. He too aggro.
It's
Switch it back up
becoming
the top lane.
a game of ring around the rosy right now. Crown on to Jensen. Jensen out of mana. He's going to have to go back to the Fountain Impact as well, getting pushed out on the middle inhibitor turret, and it looks like Samsung is here to stay inside the base.
So methodical here from Samsung. C9 left with so little opportunity. Meteos goes in again, but gets stopped.
Locket of the Iron Solari into Steadfast Presence pretty much shuts Meteos down. Core JJ gobbles him up, and they're going to devour the rest of the blobs. A good attempt by Impact to keep him alive. That's the hit. The shockwave comes in from Jensen, but no members of Samsung Galaxy fall. And now they have to wait for the minions to get on the turret, so they're looking for more Cloud9 members.
Looks like with all the inhibitors down, all Samsung have to do are wait for the minions to assist.
37:30 on the clock. Samsung having the fastest game times, keeps them pretty speedy here. Samsung looking for the last Nexus turret. Is Impact doing his damnedest to deliver the damage through the Sock Blast to the skies in. He flashes over and takes down Crown. That's a lot of front end damage that SSG loses, so Galaxy's gonna have to back out and try their hand again in just a few. It's time for cleanup crew from Cloud9.
And they take down Cuvee. Here comes Tahm Kench looking for the Devour.
Getting that movement speed. The flash is forward, actually. They're going to be able to drop Core JJ on this one. So to go in, they don't get Cuvee. That's going to be Ace in the hole. Pushes himself away, gets a little more distance there. And the inhibitor that came up goes back down in that bot lane.
Right, this means that Cloud9 have to stay inside the base, constantly clearing minions. This Baron on the map right now is Samsung's.
That's so huge because playing 2 versus 3 inhibitors makes it twice as hard because you only have 2 creeps coming in every lane. But essentially, the super creeps, they triple if you lose all 3 inhibitors because you get the super creep from the 3rd lane and then they double in every lane as well. So you go from 2 super creeps per wave to 6 in total. 3 times as hard. Yeah, I love this combo. The TP to get Meteos back with the Orianna ulti, but it's just simply too late for C9.
They can't line up all the cooldowns. Samsung continually offensive move after offensive move.
They're even waiting. Oh, they killed it. They were waiting for Core JJ, and when he was a second away from spawning, they're like, no, you want this? Nope, you're the support. You don't get Baron.
He's 5-1 and 13. Very good kill participation in this game. I'm sure he's feeling good already without that Baron buff, and the team feeling even better as they move in for what could be a final push with minions in each lane. A little hesitation on the bot lane as they drop the last minions of Cloud9's side, and C9 to put up their last defense here at 40 minutes into the game. Impact very, very close to going down. Samsung Galaxy is going to be on to the Nexus 40 minutes in. They came in hungry to book their ticket over to the Big Apple, and it looks like Samsung Galaxy will be moving on to the semifinals at Madison Square Garden.
And these guys, they started in the group of death. They finished their last 3 games in that group convincingly. They came into quarterfinals and they take down C9 in such a convincing fashion. They are more than worthy of praise. What a consistently strong team this Samsung Galaxy is. And sadly, this is the end of the road for C9.
All lanes from Samsung showing up. Cuvee had huge times where he was the star. Ruler and Core JJ both with their moments. This looks like a very, very scary team to try and face in the semifinals, whoever their opponent may be.
And these two teams shared quite a bit of the same champion pool. Hear the crowd giving much deserved cheers to Samsung Galaxy through their play. Not even showing that much as they move on to the semifinals, running back-to-back compositions that were very similar. And outstanding play from all the players across the board. Core JJ in the bottom in one of a very new position to him. Amazing.
And you could just see what utility and support could do for a team as well. They had so many plays that could have turned exactly around if the teleport landed. But Cuvee stopped every single teleport that Impact attempted, even the ones behind this turret. Core JJ had so many devours that ended up working out. The support from the top laner and...
Albus Nox! What beasts from the CIS region!
Did I expect that we can be that good? Deep in my heart, I did. But no one would ever predict that it's gonna be like this. But it's happening.
We didn't plan to make it out of groups because it was our first Worlds experience, and nobody knew that we can compete on the same level.
На самом деле это очень сложно объяснить, как такое произошло, потому что, по мнению каждого аналитика, по мнению каждого фаната, наша команда даже не заслуживала выйти из группы.
Albus Nox, they need a minor miracle. They have, 1% chance to make it out of groups.
It was pretty expected that no one will scream with us, because wildcard team, they do nothing, they are the worst at Worlds as usual.
they couldn't even scrim teams because nobody deemed them worthy enough to be even worth some practice.
Nobody wanted to play except the INTZ friends.
But wildcard doesn't mean underdog, doesn't mean loser anymore.
Выигрывают TLG! Мы выигрываем первую игру на чемпионате мира, друзья!
At first week after the game versus COG, H2K asked us for scrim, and we screamed before game with G2. That's why we won so fast, because we screamed versus European team, we were ready for Europe.
If anybody under-prepared for Albus Nox coming into week one, that's not going to be the case looking forward.
People started booking scrims with us, and yes, we knew that we can compete, and it made us stronger.
Liquid go! He's invulnerable! He's getting it taken! Oh my god! Oh my god, they did it!
The Rocks Tigers game, well, it was like, I don't know, I think it was our best game ever.
This is history we're witnessing. These guys were not supposed to do this well.
I think we literally surprised the world, but at first we surprised ourselves.
Для нас очень приятно, что мы удивили всех игроков, которые нас поддерживали, наших фанатов, потому что мы приехали сюда как команда, которую все ставили на 0-6, а мы оказались 4-2 и выиграли одну из самых сильнейших команд в мире, и, безусловно, это очень приятное чувство.
I think the reason of success is that we have no nerves and that we just show our best play.
If underdog starting to win, everyone will cheer for them, because, oh my god, 10% or maybe low happen and they win. Oh my god, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool to be the greatest upset in the league history, but we want to be not remembered by like that.
It's not enough. We will try to make our journey as long as it possible. After we reach some point, we always make a new one. As example, we get to the wildcards. Okay, now we need to win them. Okay, we got to Worlds. Let's try to make a victory. Okay, we could make a victory. Let's try to make it out of groups. We did it. Now we like, okay, guys, let's do our best in the quarterfinals. Next step until we become like the best. But can we? We're gonna find it in Chicago.
Well, surprise the world is correct for this team. Hello, everyone. I am Julian Pastry Time Car, casting alongside the brains himself, Isaac, Ezeo Cummings-Bentley, and the brawn, Mitch Crepo Vorspos. Gentlemen, great to have you here in Chicago.
So excited to be here. I can't get more hype than ANX.
I'm so ready for this matchup here, H2K versus ANX. On paper, nobody expected this. So many cool storylines, especially in the jungle. First Blood King versus the new First Blood Dominator, PvP Steos. I'm definitely excited.
Well, we'll have to see how it works out, but let's reveal our starting lineups and get ourselves in the game. With the first pick, it is H2K. In the top lane, Oda-Wamne, the jungler Yankos, mid laner Ryu, AD carry Forgiven, support Vander, and of course, Coach Prolly.
And on the red side, actually, hang on, do you want to talk?
It's my time now, baby. It's Albus Nox Luna in the top lane. It's Smurf in the jungle. PvP stay host, your mid laner Kira, the bot lane duo, A Miracle and Lacrit with Coach Ansva.
And it'll be interesting to see how this match works out because, again, two teams that maybe didn't have that high hopes coming into Worlds now facing off in the quarterfinals. The last Western hope, as I know some fans have coined it, H2K, we have to start with them. They look so good to end their group stage, excuse me.
Yeah, and I like what they said in the feature as well. They scrimmed against H2K so they could beat G2. So this was H2K's master plan to be the last European team remaining here at quarterfinals.
Makes me pretty curious how those games went, but I mean, it's hard to not look at the bot lane in a matchup like this. Forgiven has been so dominating. It's not just the CSD, it's the damage done. It's like pretty much every statistical measure of the AD carry position. Forgiven is really far ahead, and I think that one thing that ANX has going in the bot lane is Lacrit. He's a playmaker. He's a bit of a wild card. He has different picks, and he's played very aggressively and very well.
I have to agree there, but we are going to get ourselves into Champion Select and see what surprises, if any, we have for game number one. H2K over on the blue, ANX hanging out on the red for this first one. And the first ban, of course, it's Brand.
Yeah, and Brand has got to get taken off the table against this guy. You got to give the respect. Brandon and Nivea likely will not see the light of day here for ANX.
Yeah, I really like these target bans here, and it doesn't hit H2K themselves. That's the beauty of these bans. You ban a Brand, you don't lose any of your own champions in that regard. Taking the Poppy off the board is strong because she has proven to be a very solid foundation that top lane can build on. Yes, you get a small CS deficit, but it's so useful in TPs and so useful in engages.
Especially when you're expected to get a bit of a CS deficit, you can kind of get away with that. Poppy's always has a huge amount of utility, even from behind, and One thing that is kind of really nice for Licrid is the priority that's coming up on Zyra. Zyra has shown itself as a top-tier pick, and this is a guy who loves AP support, loves Brand, and Zyra being available, something they can go for.
We gotta see the Caitlyn ban come out here. The counterpart Jin banned out.
Wow.
So this is actually quite peculiar that ANX is leaving it open. This could just be the Caitlyn early rotation here. First pick for H2K. There are some other power picks available. You know, there's the Elise for the jungle position. There's some strong mid laners in the Syndra and the Aurelion Sol, but H2K may just value that Caitlyn pick so much that they will forgo the Syndra and have Ryu counter it if Albus Nox picks it up early.
And we've seen teams do it already, but Nidalee, Ryze, Cannon were ANX's banned, so very standard for them as well. No target bans required on the side of H2K. They are taking their time, though, with this first pick, because, like you said, Crepper, a lot of top-tier champions open, and all of a sudden, Zyra, Caitlyn had kind of been added to that list as well.
And it's almost one of those things when the Caitlyn gets left up, it almost feels like it's a bit of a bait because they want to try to take away 2 power picks. You talked about Syndra, you talked about Aurelion Sol, Zyra has been very high priority. These are champions where you take 2 of those, you probably feel pretty good about giving over that Caitlyn, but at the same time, Forgiven has played it 5 out of 7 times, and it's, wow, it's going to be Jace.
The narrative completely changes. We had our eyes on strong mid lane champions. We had our eyes on lane dominance in the bot lane, but it's H2K that says, you know what, this pick that everybody questions, this Jace pick, we're just going to lock it in and play from the top lane. Odoamne has gotten a lot of praise by even international top laners that he's performing super well.
And to be fair, Jace has got a lot of criticism because it hasn't worked for North American teams. It's been working for everyone else. You know, North America was 0-4 on the pick. I believe it was 9-4 for the rest of the world. So this has been working out very well, just not for the NA teams. And Odoamne has definitely picked up some wins on it here too.
And we've started to see more of it in the knockout state as well, as that Caitlyn does get taken away by Miracle. It's kind of required. Olaf as well going to join Stejos in the jungle. So what H2K have for picks 2 and 3?
It does ask us the question, what is that Olaf going to be sped up by? Usually you see a Karma or a Sivir. Obviously, you know, Sivir since the Caitlyn is locked in. Are we going to see a relatively boring Karma for Licrid? It doesn't have much spice, it doesn't have much flair, but it is a strong pushing lane. And H2K's early game strength revolves entirely around pushing in and winning all 3 lanes, and that's why they're going for the Zyra support so early. They really want to lock in that lane dominance.
Works very well with Lee Sin here also, because you're aggressive, you have this jungler that can stay out on the map for so long, excels at diving, excels at bullying out these lanes, and we're going to see what they do.
I'm so surprised that Lee Sin wasn't a Syndra pick, though. Complete misread on that. Many teams are fighting for Syndra first pick left and right, and then this gets left up until the second rotation, purple side. Obviously, this is a game 1 of a best of 5. H2K are considered the better team, and they have room to test ANX out, to feel the game.
And I think part of it is because Vladimir is still available. Vladimir is kind of that safer pick against the Syndra. Bard going to get locked in here for Licrid. Definitely a playmaker.
Super fun matchup with the Zyra as well. You can actually use her plants against her to proc double stunts that she doesn't expect here. It's very hard to play though, so we'll have to keep our eyes on Licrid because this matchup is quite difficult depending on what Forgiven ends up going with.
And Syndra, of course, are locking for Kira. Very safe pick. You mentioned Vlad. We could see that, but Kira's going to be happy with the aggression. I love that also Licrid's happy to give over to Zyra. He was one of the only players, I believe, drawing Zyra bans in week 1. He's like, that's his other champion if you join the Brand and the Bard. So he's happy to play against it. Teams are starting to pick it up, and Licrid's like, oh, I did all this research already. I already know how good this is.
And although people talk about Licrid, about the Brand, about the Zyra, he played Tahm Kench, he smashed on that. He's playing the Bard now. This guy has flexibility. They can play a lot of different champions.
Yeah, and we're seeing the return of the Vladimir into Syndra matchup here. So H2K kind of going against their style, picking more for mid game, but definitely having some tricky lanes right here. If Forgiven and Vander can make it out with a CS lead in this matchup, they definitely overperform compared to the expected matchup. Forgiven, great CS, a great lane or wave manipulator, should be able to do it still, but it's a tough matchup due to the range advantage that a Caitlyn has over a Sivir.
It certainly is, and something that they're going to have to keep in mind is that Kira is going to have that push advantage.
Yep.
The Syndra can shove in Vladimir, although Vladimir may not die if you play well. You can push him in, you can roam to the side lanes, you can look for TPs with this Gnar, you know, combine your ganks with the Olaf and try to kind of pile in and take advantage of some of these side lanes.
Yeah, but with these 2 drafts, you're looking at a very explosive mid-game here. Tons of action could unfold, especially around objectives. I'm definitely excited.
Well, teams love to fight, so I think we're going to see a lot of that in this game and this series in particular. Very standard, I will say, as far as picks go. I think Jankos and Odoamne are going to do a lot of work for H2K, getting their early game up. And of course, ANX have put power where they want it. Nice safe bottom lane. Licrid's on a playmaker. Kira's on a pressure champion. I think both teams get what they want here for the first game. And as the series develops, as is always the case, it'll be interesting to see kind of how these teams play out as the drafts continue.
Exactly. I mean, they're both two very strong drafts. It now comes down to play. And something I'm really going to be tracking in the early game is how these junglers do, because both of these guys have been massive as far as first blood participation for their teams. Jankos, every time he's gotten first blood, H2K has won. So that's something that you definitely have to track. Kind of so goes his performance, so goes H2K's performance.
Well, we'll have to see, but don't forget to vote on Twitter for the team you are supporting. Use the hashtag H2KWin if you're behind the EU LCS people, or the hashtag ANXWin if you want the tournament darlings now at this point. Definitely the fan favorites. You can hear the crowd here in Chicago screaming every time Liquid is on screen. We'll see if his play can continue to inspire, or if H2K will just continue on that hot streak.
And there's so much to theorize about, so many matchups you can follow. I could talk to you for 10 minutes about this bot lane matchup, because so much is push central in terms of the lane. If you push the minions, suddenly your trades can be winning, but you have a hard time. Range advantages is so delicate. So I'm so excited to see how Forgiven and Vander approach this laning phase.
Certainly expected 2v2 to get things going.
Yep. Both teams going to be spreading out here, line of scrimmage to get things going. Standard starts, and it will be interesting to see how that top lane goes, especially because I do think that if Gnar can kind of get ahead, this is a guy who can become huge front line with the Olaf.
Yeah, and this is also a point of the game where we can look back and we can maybe describe H2K's general style, what got them the 4-0, and was based around winning lanes, and especially Ryu stepping up from as early as honestly, the 0 to 10 minute mark, not scaling into matchups, honestly putting so much pressure forward. But right now, H2K's both bot lane and mid lane have relatively tough matchups. So need to see if they can alter their style and survive a weaker early game.
Bit of a face check there from Kira, but doesn't eat too much damage. Ryu will get a bit of poke off here. Like you mentioned, that's just standard stuff across the board as everyone's fanning out. Zara did go back early, but Vander's going to just run back to lane, should make it in time. And looks like no massively deep wards being played. So everyone should have about the expected amount of information here, and as always, early game's going to play a big factor for these two teams in particular.
It certainly will, and it's good that you did highlight Ryu, because he's the mid laner that actually spends the most time on his opponent's side of the lane, pushing in, and that's really what enables Forgiven to play so aggressively in the bot lane. But this matchup, you will be struggling.
Yeah, look at this here. We see camp start for a Miracle and Liquid, but they yield the access to the early lane here. Playing into H2K's hand, they get access to the wave early. Yes, there will be an experience lead, but look at Forgiven and Vander here. They really want to punish them for the camp. So double poke here. Not getting any CS. Miracle being zoned already here. And Forgiven, while he's down in experience, he has the push control. This is their favorite style.
It certainly is. Vander, a little bit of a mistake there, though, not using his Q early enough to actually proc the plant. Could have won that trade a lot more heavily, but now it just kind of have a Miracle at level 2. They're going to be fine. It's mostly about how much CS can they pick up without getting poked out.
But they're not pushing in, and if Caitlin's not pushing, she can't trade and use her range advantage to get uncontested poke onto the Sivir right now. Right now it's Vander and Forgiven approaching, going for early harass on the tower. And more importantly, the Olaf is pathing to the top lane. This is a point of the game where sometimes H2K overextend and they basically rely on summoners to make them out. They say, you know, we're going to get such a big advantage early that it doesn't matter that we have to flash. The advantage is already there. But with Steos pathing to the top lane, this is such a tough spot for the ANX bot lane.
And these early levels of why bot lane can be so intricate in the early stages, but like you said, junglers on the opposite side. Stehos quickly farming through the jungle on Olaf. We expect him to be up as far as clear goes, but if we do want Gnar to maybe get some leverage in this top lane, maybe Stehos is going to go there. And of course, the Twitterverse, much like the crowd, is behind ANX for this game.
And Odoamne has that early river ward. He's kind of expecting Stehos just to a full clear top to bottom. A little bit of variation here from Jankos. He left up the blue buff. We'll see if he is going to try to get up top side, as that ward does still have some time on it and should allow Odoamne to be okay unless he pushes up too much further.
And you said a little bit of a change-up, and if we went back to minute 2, I just checked, it was a fake leash from Gnar, so it's completely expected for this Olaf to be bot lane right now. Gnar leashed, bot lane did camp. Everybody expects
he's going to face
there
check
to be
the
no
Olaf.
Olaf here.
Yeah, because it's like, oh no, he is there! And Steos going to throw the axe in. Now
yeah, goes in so much trouble.
And he's doing so much damage. Next axe lands, acceleration gets poked about, flashed over, and now Steos is going to get aggressive. Oh, Jace takes him down, and now they're going to work on Smurf. Jankos is low. Smurf jumps on his head, but it's not enough as Odo looking for the early double kill. He is going to get it. There's two.
Odo Wamna comes in swinging, knocks him down. So much early damage from the Jace.
And ANX, they had to pull back because the Jace was there so much faster. Smurf came in way too late. He's a level down. Oh, this was a great start. They could have just taken this and backed off. They could have pushed Odo Wamna out of lane. But look how further back Smurf is. He's not able to join.
Yeah, right there was the retreat mark there, but look at the damage, completely unexpected. Now Odo Wamna gets 2 kills and double buff. The setup was beautiful. It started with a fake leash by the Gnar. Nobody expected there to be an Olaf in that brush. You could see the surprise on Jankos' face right there, but right now Odo Wamna taking off. We talked about bot lane, mid lane, and pick and bans, but this guy really making that early Jace pick work.
There's really no champion worse to have double buffs than the Jace here. He can spam his spells, continuously poke you out, and he's going to be so strong. It's forcing Smurf to go for this early defensive build, which he really does not want to do. He wants to be building towards Frozen Mallet, Black Cleaver, something to contest him.
And you can see double armor items up early for Smurf, so Odo off to a flying start here in the top side of the map. HGK already up 1,500 gold. We did expect HGK's laners to get a lead, but top lane was not the one we may have been looking at.
Yeah, and mid lane is staying even CS here in an uneven matchup. Out of mana onto Kira, that's going to be at least one summoner, if not a kill.
Oh, Jankos in there with a Swifties. Kira misses the stun, and that's going to force a flash.
Yeah, he just flash out.
Yeah, well done. I mean, Ryu uses one summoner, but it's a ghost, and trading that ghost for the flash is going to make Kira very susceptible for return ganks, especially once Jankos hits 6, Kira will still not have his flash, and he can look for that.
Yeah, and if you look at Jankos, he has a much higher jungle percentage, or near his lane jungle proximity rather with his laners. He doesn't have the efficiency that Steos has. Steos gets more games from it, but that's because Jankos plays more of a supporting role as well. Sometimes he just shows for pressure. He helps little skirmishes that don't necessarily translate into kills rather, but he's always there to support his lane. Super efficient jungler.
Now this gank pretty much has to work here for Steos. He's coming in.
Smurf's already chunked, and Odo's just going to bail. They spotted him. Steos, he does know the pink ward's there, but he's level 6 already, and Smurf just cannot compete as Jankos going to walk into the lane as well.
Yeah, and that's one of those moves from Jankos. It's not about getting the kill here, but he's just around to counter gank, always offering support, and then
they can set up the dive.
Oh, but he's diving. He goes in for it himself. That is a 1v1 solo dive as Odo pops up the flare.
That's what happens. You get a serrated Dirk, the double buffs that early, and now Steos. There's no way he can hold safely here. They're going to push him in. They're going to be able to reset. Odo Wamna can go back and buy. And this guy is getting out of control. 20 CS up, 3 kills 6 minutes in. Who is going to handle the Jace?
And Snowball lane, as we talk about them, we maybe looked at the Syndra for Ryu. Kira takes it instead. We look at bottom lane Forgiven and the Caitlyn. Took the Sivir and gave it away. Odo on the Jace has been the big story early on. The lanes are even. That's game plan going well for HGK.
Definitely. Jankos picked the lane, made his snowballs, and all these other lanes are just doing what they have to. They're playing losing matchups in both mid and bot lane, but look at the CS, bang on even in the bot lane. Ryu even getting some forward pressure already before the real breaking point in this matchup. No Spirited Visage yet, but the early magic resistance helped him pressure out Kira.
And even just forcing out Kira's flash means he can't really push in very much, so that winning lane, mid lane, what was supposed to be a winning lane, he's actually down CS now. He's losing there. Bot lane's going fine, and Odo Wamna is disgustingly ahead and going to keep looking for these trades.
Smurf can only hop so many times out of those trades as Odo just has so much early AD.
And this is where Odo wants to keep the wave kind of parked right there. Deny some creeps here, these range creeps, taking out some of the CS that Smurf so desperately wants. He wants to lure him in. Make it so that he at least has to overextend in the lane and gets chased down. But it's not freezing. Smurf is happy that this wave bounced back towards his Smurf, but he's being denied so much CS.
Bit of damage there. Kira with the blue buff. He's going to try and shove Ryu in a little more efficiently, but the early Spectre's Scarf from Ryu should negate most of that aggression that Kira can offer. And now Jankos is moving into the ANX side of the jungle, looking again towards top. He's going to spot a ward, finds Stehos. Ghost around as Kira looks for the pick, doesn't get it. Good collapse from ANX, but Jankos mobile on the Lee Sin, able to get out very easily.
Was a good collapse, but once again, they're going to go for Kira. He has no flash. Jankos has kick. Is he looking?
Looking for it again. Kira, no, not going to eat the Q, and Ryu goes for the dive. Great little juke, but Liquid's here as well. No, he gets kicked back into the grasping roots, and that will be the conversion. Vander picks one up.
Such a good follow there from Vander. He sees the crit missing. He's there to follow up, and although they can't convert on the kill on Kira, they pick up the crit.
And that's good communication by HJK. They select the target, and they let it be known in team comms, which means, again, that the support can roam. And also, look at the wave. It's continuously being parked at the enemy turret. This is Forgiven's favorite style with Vander. That's how they love to play. It all goes back to the level 1. They forwent the camp, and they actually just went for the early push, unrelenting. They saw jungler top. They had the freedom. They're fine with going even CS here, and they're outscaling in that matchup. And then Vander is allowed to roam and just assist in those mid lane fights.
Miracle doing what he can. He will scale, of course, but does not want to be pressed up against it like this. Vander even looking to get aggressive. The crit does return to lane, but he takes some damage there. Forgiving in a step forward. Miracle going to cover with his own Q, but again, HBK just pushing up all 3 lanes.
Yeah, and if you store 2 seeds, it's impossible for the bar to react because he'll just have his stun be eaten up by both plants right there. Or if you just put a plant far enough, so it's really hard for Liquid to play this matchup in the defensive. And again, that further illustrates the point why wave push is so important in this matchup. If Liquid doesn't have plants and creeps in front of him, he can go for the poke, you know, bar Q into trap, but that's completely negated because H2K played the lane much better.
And on top of the map pressure, on top of the CS, take a look at the turret's health in the bot lane. It's actually down below half already. They're well on their way to picking up that first turret, which can just further extend that gold lead, open up the map, which is how they love to play. They can get aggressive and start to take over the jungle.
And this is the side of the map that's not even having that many problems. Odoamne, just to remind you, is still 3-0, building in for a very early-looking Ghost Blade. You can see that CS difference building up. He's almost 25 up on Smurf, and even the individual gold lead, that is absurd for 10 minutes.
This is the largest gold somebody's been ahead from a top lane. 1,400, you know, just top laner versus top laner, the largest at World so far on a Jace pick, a pick that is inherently so snowbally in its nature. Oh, this is definitely a tough task for ANX.
It's so bad because it disrupts your opponent's build path too. You know, Smurf is essentially on the welfare build now.
Yeah.
He has to go tabbies. He has to just try to survive here. He can't actually build items. Like, when is this guy ever going to finish his Black Cleaver or his Frozen Mallet? Like, what, 30 minutes into the game?
And now ANX might be transferring some of their pressure towards another side of the map. Kira, though, in trouble as Jankos looking to hop in. Good flash from Kira, flash from Jankos as well. Still going, though. Forgiven, forced to pop the ultimate. Stealth ultis in and runs towards them, but ANX, no kills coming down. Maybe they'll convert for a push or the Drake.
Yeah, and Jankos, he was so set on getting the kick flash off. He tapped both buttons. That's why he did the very minute flash, you know, very short distances, because any fraction of a second later, the kick would have actually worked. So that was a perfect flash from Kira, essentially trading Jankos' flash for it.
Still, good trade for Jankos as a jungler. He'll take that trade every time, and it means Kira, once again, has to be on the defensive. He has to be on the lookout, because there are ways to gank that lane very easily, even without your flash. Jankos can ward hop over the wall. If he gets up behind him, you're kicked in, you're dead.
Yeah, in about a minute, Ryu can just channel his E, flash in, slow the enemy Syndra. That's enough distance to do exactly what you described right there, Azale, and have Jankos close the gap.
HBK also only getting stronger. Have completed some items here and there. Ryu now looking for that blue buff. Does have that Spirit Visage built up already, so he is a bit behind in CS right now, but he should catch up easily. And he's effectively done what he needs to do. Neutralize the lane, play it safe, and scale towards the mid-game.
And Albus Nox Luna, they know they're behind. That's why we see when they run out of base, the jungler and support, they walk together, looking for any semblance of an opportunity. We saw Liquid move with PvP Steos. Maybe they can get a cheeky portal here and there. Tempered Fate is still on cooldown. That's their way back in. Tempered Fate into a pickoff, outnumbered, but it's so hard. When the mid laner has a pool he can dive into, bot laner has Spell Shield. Where are you going to find these opportunities if you're Albus Nox?
Well, Ghostblade also done for Jay, so looking good there. Forgiven, showing with some early Berserker Greaves, so itemization looking just fine. Kira again trying to play up, does get a stun off, but Vladimir is just soaking this damage constantly.
He really is, and one thing going well for Kira, at least, he's keeping his farm up, and he can look for those opportunities in teamfights. So Jace right now, he's not building an AMR. That's someone you can look at as the Syndra. If you can wipe this 3-0 Jace off the map right off the bat, or the Zyra, two very squishy champions, you can even the odds.
Yeah, just a hair short of hitting that stun onto Vander. If he was out of exhaust range, he could have gotten caught here. We're looking for an opportunity. He wants to burn the spell shield before he ultis.
Looking for the play, good spell shield, Forgiven with great patience. Doesn't get distracted by the meeps and will hold it for that Q. Miracle has a bit more breathing room, has gone back for the early Zeal now, so CF Swords kind of diverging a bit as far as build path goes, and it does feel like now ANX is starting to push the lane out, but H2K already did what they needed to do in the early part of the lane, so they're going to play it nice and safe, and Jankos will visit mid lane again, but just help Ryu push it out.
And H2K is now working heavily on the top lane turret as well. They're pushing in all the lanes, so there's all this gold that they're kind of working towards that they haven't reaped yet. Once they take out top turret, once they take out bot turret, that's where the gold leads can really start to balloon. And just look at these trades for Smurf. There's nothing he can do to fight back.
Yeah, just following the Lee Sin in the jungle for H2K as well. So efficient. Jumps mid, helps clear out the wave. Wave priority, gets the red buff.
Looking to kill Smurf.
This is hard. Yanko's going to kick him in. Lands the Q. Smurf going to get attacked on. Does go Mega. Wallets him over. No! arrow into the wall as well, but that's just enough to get out. And that one hits, and Jankos just snipes him with a resonating strike.
Well played by Smurf to survive, but he gets taken down anyway. This means first turret blood for Odoamne, likely going to be given that solo goal. This guy is going to be huge. ANX on the bot side are trying to take Dragon, at least get something back.
Yeah, Jankos again, that pathing from mid lane to jungle to top pressure. Yes, they yield the Ocean Wake, but H2K don't care. They want raw monetary value right now. We're approaching the 15-minute mark, and they're already sporting a 4.5k gold lead. This is honestly impressive from H2K.
And so much of it is on the Jace. The Jace is closing in on hilarious levels of ahead. He's like 2,500 or 3,000 gold ahead now, and this is so well done. Odoamne knows his jungler wants to come top, so he's looking to trade aggressively early on.
Yeah, double pink wards on the minimap. They even saw Lee Sin in the jungle, but at one point there's nothing you can do. You gotta overextend to maybe get some CS, some experience, because otherwise being afraid of the gank will cost you more than the gank itself. And then a couple nice things here. Perfect kick into Q. Smurf gets next to a wall, which means Odoamne's skill shot is perfect. He predicts the juke slightly, which puts him next to a wall. That means Q can't miss from the Lee Sin. So it's all these little things. And yeah, as you said earlier, Azael, bot lane turret at 30%, ready to fall.
It's just continued pressure. It's what H2K have been known for. And now Steos, hand in the cookie jar, has been caught in the enemy jungle, but will just get chased out. Does burn the ghost, but not the ultimate to get out there. But you can see Steos wants to get in and apply some pressure, but it's just not that easy right now.
And it's Odoamne on the roam because he has that turret down, because he has pushed him out. He can look to move around the map and extend his advantage to the other lanes. It's almost the same thing as you see those bot lanes do. Take down the top lane turret. Jace acts as like that AD carry. If you get some alone time on this mid lane turret, you will crush it as a Jace.
Yeah, and we looked at some of the interviews as well where foreign players were talking about Odoamne. Impact had high things to say about him. I believe even Smeb said nice things, and honestly, he has a history of leading his lane in this tournament. This is the third time in a row, or third time rather, at Worlds that he's up over 1,000 gold at 15 minutes against his direct lane opponent. He's tied with Cuvate for that exact stat. Right now we see more action in bot
good
lane.
snipe, but Forgiven, I think, gonna play goalie. Make sure Squishy Vander does not get aggressed on.
And look where Jankos is. He's behind the bot lane. He's coming down. They could look for a dive here. They have a pink ward in this bush, so they know that they will be able to spot Lee Sin, but will it be in time? These guys are moving up pretty far.
We'll have to see. Jankos again going to play it patiently. ANX do have a nicely placed pink ward there, but Ryu's coming as well, and all of a sudden this dive looks very tricky. Jankos going to line it up. Who's going to take the turret first? Ryu's ghosting in. Oh, very creative, but they have to run the other way. Gets taken by Hemo, playing flashes for. Great double stun there from Liquid, and they're still running into the enemy jungle.
Coming down, though.
Chaos there as well, but Jankos going to cut him off the path. There's a snipe. Takes on the bot. Miracle tagged as well as Ryu takes one down, and ANX, that's two dead. They have to run.
That shock blaster, clever little pathing there from Licrit. Did as best as he could to avoid that dive. No chance to live under the turret, so they go for the great escape. They at least force out some summoners, but still, it's 2 more kills for H2K. They're up 6,000 gold.
Jankos looking again, does not get the Wolf Spirit down. Steos holds onto his jungle for now, but ANX are just busy chasing H2K out of their side of the map rather than applying that pressure, and all of a sudden those two sort of neutralizing lanes in mid and bot are starting to play up and aggressive. Towers are looking to fall, and Odoamne, he's the king of the hill right now.
It certainly is, and with that bot lane turret going down to Forgiven, they can take over the jungle, get that vision, really look to control ANX.
Yeah, and this is the style I like to play. Look at Ryu actually arriving first in this matchup here. It indicates that H2K, no matter what champions they get, they are winning all 3 lanes here, allowing for these roams, and then, well spotted there. That roam from Odoamne is just dirty at this point. Anybody walking into him 1v1 is going to die.
Also clever from Odoamne, he was actually TPing to bot. He saw them escaping, quickly cancels his TP, and moves to collapse, knowing that's the only way they could get out. So very well played from the H2K top lane.
Ooh, Tempered Fate hits on Evander again. Kira looking for the snipe, gonna line it up. Stun's gonna miss, and that'll be a flash from Vander. Now they might even turn it around. Stehos a little low, but doesn't commit for it, and you can just see they're doing the right things, looking for the picks, but H2K just burning summoners and not giving that gold over.
Yeah, that was the 40 ping skill shot, the 50 ping skill shot, but they're playing on an 8 ping right now. I feel like the Q that Liquid threw kind of threw Kira off guard, because when your support starts queuing early, you think, I mistimed the Zhonya, so let's just follow up on it. And it all went poorly at that point. Really good pick off with them, that's what they have to do. Tempered Fate on a straggler, CC him to death, and then hopefully that you can snowball. But the flash from Vander was good enough to get out.
And you can see the itemization for H2K picking up in aggression as the game continues on. Black Cleaver now done for Odoamne, which is insane, and the Protobot's done for Ryu. And now Odo is even going to get Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, super aggressive build here from Ryu. Just wants to run in and mess with some people.
This is funny, maybe a steal. Smurf's in. Is he all the way in? I don't think he wants it. Looks for the axe, doesn't get it. Odo claims the buff. ANX don't commit into Odo on there.
As a top laner, it feels so bad. You're already so far behind, and now he gets the Rift Herald buff too. It's like, come on, man, give me something.
You got a Frozen Mallet. You can slow him down as he dies.
Take a little longer to die because he's got a nice big bunch of health. Well, no one wants to go near Odo right now, but HGK, they're going to transfer people to this midsection of the map and see if they can't bust down a turret.
Yeah, from a strategy point of view, they're doing something they've done very often in Europe back in the day. Let's get back to it later because somebody's going to die.
Miracle getting dove, ties the blood. That's more than enough. Goodbye, as Bandit claims one.
And that's the 1-3-1 for you. They put the 3 members in the mid lane. They always put Forgiven next to a turret that they want to take down. They have a strong dueling Vladimir with an aggressive build on the side lane. He pushes up, collapses in the mid lane. Odo Omnis pushing the top lane. Really good way to close out for HGK.
It's super well done, especially because Kira has no chance of 1v1ing this Vlad right now. He's on 2 items. He can't walk the dangerous way.
Odo 1v2 does flash out of the Axis. Steos going to keep
Jankos
running.
is coming.
He's ghosted, but Jankos in for protection. Going to keep moving in there. Acceleration gate. Going to try and turn it around. Jankos hops in, looks for the kick. Barely misses Steos. With the crits here as well. Can they turn it around? Odo shut down finally. And Smurf going to take him down. And now Jankos getting chased out. Seven Fate hits 2. But the ulti from Syndra is going to get messed up as a result. Bit of a miscommunication. ANX at least get 1 kill.
Yeah, Jankos actually gets out thanks to that immune to Syndra ultimate. That Bard ultimate from Lecrae mistimed. Some bad communication there from ANX. They at least get on the board. They've picked up a kill.
Yeah, you could see that HGK was always looking for the fancy solution out. You know, Odo Omnis continuously juking, buying time for Jankos to get in. He wanted to get the pinball effect, kick the Gnar into the opponent, especially when you kick a tank. You get extra % damage right there. It all starts with Odo Omnis slightly overextending. Look at the river. There's no vision even in the enemy jungle either, so he gets 1 juke. 2 jukes right here. As Jankos comes in, he wants to line up Smurf and kick him into Steos, but it's so close to missing.
Just barely misses there, and Odo Omnis tries to turn that around. If that ulti actually kicked the Gnar through, they might have killed off Steos.
Oh,
so.
Jankos, that's dirty. I think he stole the dragon away from ANX.
Ooh, and it's an infernal one too, so everything starts off worse and gets even worse down the drain for Albus Nox Luna. Every play they make seems to get countered by HGK.
I'm also surprised that Smurf actually did go Frozen Mallet. I expected when he's this far behind, just go Randuin's or something and pray to land a good CC chain. Because at this point, he's going to be so quick. Kira's getting kicked in.
Oh, good kick. Jankos finishes it off. The mid turret's going to crumble as well. And it's just all going right for H2K.
Yeah, everybody keeps getting picked off here because they feel safe under their turret, but you're not safe when a Lee Sin and a Jace are this far ahead on the map. So much pressure right now from HGK. They can be so happy with how this game 1 went.
Safety is an illusion against these guys. They can dive so easily. Vladimir with a Proto Belt, he's so aggressive with it. You can get in there, you can reset the aggro with your pool and look for dives constantly, and it just feels like now there's nowhere safe on the map for ANX.
Yeah, even with slightly subpar vision, HGK is not afraid to just play high pressure on all lanes, because if you commit to ganking one lane, there is either a collapse possible or a cross map that they can take. They're playing a very fast-paced League of Legends right now, hoping to close out this game very quick.
Well, they did get the shutdown onto Odo, which is good news. Smurf got a nice influx of gold as a result of that kill. Unfortunately for ANX, it's their only kill of this game, and they're behind 8,500 gold at 22.5 minutes. The HGK pressure, it wasn't as early as we maybe expected, but you can see the items starting to get completed, and they're just insanely far ahead right now.
22 minutes in a quarterfinal at Worlds. 0 towers for the purple side team. Only 1 kill was made there. HGK was en route to take a perfect game.
They are still, yeah.
There was
that is gone. At the same time, now they just look to continue to extend that lead. They don't care about the perfect game. They just care about the win. And Baron is likely going to be the next target here for H2K. They need to establish vision. That's what they're trying to do now. You see Vander moving in, getting a couple wards, and they will look to extend that. Odo Omnis is going to be in the bot lane. No one can really answer this guy, and they can really start to put some pressure on.
And this is great because H2K's main flaw throughout the entire season was their mid to late game Baron control. They shorted up definitely in week 2 when they went 4-0 here at Worlds. They're still looking to perfect it, and it's much easier to execute as a strategy and to get a good feel of it within a game against a team when you're this far up.
And if we just take a look at Fog of War from ANX's position, they actually can't see anything right now. They have almost no vision.
They can't see Reeve collapsing on the top side right here.
Jankos looking for a kick. Who's he going for? No, Ragnarok is nice. Now Temper Fate's going to turn around, finds 2. As Jankos and Ryu get locked up, but it's not quite enough. Kira moves in for the stun. Jankos low does go down as Liquid gets him with a Stranglehold.
Here's
the
knock
over. Here comes the chase. Steos message down. Ryu proto-belts himself under the turret, and it's just carnage here. Ryu looking for more, goes through Liquid's own portal, ties onto 2, and it's just a mess. Smurf finds Odo with a knockup as Ryu gets caught up on the other side, but Odo managed to take a few more down, and that's 4-1 H2K.
An absolute massacre for H2K. They're going to push straight down mid lane and likely get the first inhibitor of the game here.
Yeah, even if they made some of the right reactions, ANX is just simply too far behind. Love the in-pool portal taking by Ryu right there. Once they changed it so you can zone out in pool, you can do actions in pool. You can obviously take magical journeys.
That's
Nice
rude.
dodge right there.
Ryu again gonna get hit up. Kira actually does snipe Forgiven. Rude's gonna find him as Odo One looks to dive in, and this chase does disgusting damage. Inhibitor still up for now. Can they take it? Odo needs a few more shots, but
They need to
Liquid
bail out.
is gonna keep them out. The acceleration gate is gonna bail the team out down the mid lane, but Liquid still chasing in. He wants a nice angle on the stun. Looks for Vander, does not get it. And they're still chasing. They're actually pretty speedy, but Odo says, all right, let's go for it. Liquid caught up there, looks at Ryu and gets taken down by the Vlad, and Stale says, I'm leaving.
And I mean, ANX, they kept chasing. It was just Steos and Licrit, though. There was words from H2K. They saw that their AD carry wasn't coming. A Miracle was staying behind. Smurf was staying behind. They just overextended.
Yeah, they're caught in the rabbit hole right now, overextending. It was a nice attempt to stun through the creeps, and Ryu flanks, nice portal to get out. This is all the right approaches, counter-engage with Tempered Fate, looking for Chain CC onto the Olaf with the trap. This is all a good setup, but they're just simply too far behind. And once Ryu gets access to the backline, even through Exhaust, he is killing 2 people at once. Odoamne even missed Shockwave. It's just so hard for ANX to fight back.
And sure, they kill off Jankos, but it's still the big carries alive. Forgiven is untouched. Odoamne comes in, and this guy was massive, able to clean up so much on the back of this fight.
For ANX, it will be time to start looking forward to the next game.
Quite possibly. Is that mid inhib's nice and open? HGA did ping it earlier before the replay, but haven't taken it just yet. They'll slow things down just a touch.
Yeah, but they have no issues with being behind in best of series. They reverse swept their way into, honestly, Worlds, starting in their local playoffs right there. They were down 2-0 versus Vega Squadron. Made the 3-0 happen here. They're used to some defeats here. They know that everybody expected them to be, honestly, the underdog, so they're definitely not going to be too shaken up in the next game.
Right now, there's just no one actually answering Odoamne. He can just keep going, to be honest. He has Jankos spotting for him, and he could probably just take down this inhibitor turret so fast if he even wants to pop his Ghost Blade. Gonna play it safe, will back off.
Oh, Jankos.
Jankos never plays it safe, does go in, baits out a couple cooldowns, but Steos gonna chase him down. Vander keeps him out with the Stranglethorns, but Kira ultis him, it is enough for the kill. And all of a sudden, Jankos a little too much there. That's gonna force the flash out from Forgiven.
Ryu's in the back.
Ryu, good proto-bout's looking for Kira. He's just too tanky. Takes out the portal. Ryu follows him after slaying the Syndra, and they're gonna keep running in. Steos locked up by the roots as Ryu grabs the double. Now Smurf kiting it out with a frozen mount and a bit of help from Miracle. Damage is almost enough, but now Forgiven's turn to turn it around. They're looking for Ryu, but they can't get it. Miracle gonna get his face screwed up. Is not
That's a
careful.
triple.
Ryu gets himself a triple.
Quadra.
There's the Quadra. Now gonna chase it down for the Penta. Liquid, don't give it away. He's bailing back to the fountain.
Oh, Ryu's not even gonna go for it. He's going for the objectives instead. But they will pick up at least 2 inhibitors here, and they could even go for more, get a Nexus turret or 2 if they want.
Yeah, they can definitely start hitting these Nexus towers, and this was the equivalent of assuming the fetus position for ANX. Everybody huddled up in the mid lane, looking for a couple of kills, but even with a good engage, it was enough for the Vladimir to step in and start wrecking faces.
And I think the Penta was still on the table, but rare discipline from H2K that we have seen from them as they've moved into the quarterfinal stage of Worlds. Ryu does not overextend for it. They'll reset, take their inhibs, now taking the second Infernal Drake for themselves. Jankos stole the first one, just casually takes this one.
And this is just really smart, disciplined play. Very hard to lose from this point. And this was a little bit of a head scratcher from Jankos. He goes in, he's not able to get anything done. But because his team is so far ahead, any fight that they take is going to be good. And look at Ryu coming in from the backside.
Yeah, that was the Ryu flank here. Jankos was basically looking for multiple opportunities. Does he go for a kick flash onto Kira? Does he try to bowling pin a couple of players right there? And in the doubting, he obviously overextended and people disengaged. But then Ryu steps in. So hard to deal with him. He can solo.
Oh, Ryu wants it again. Just Hemoplague's in onto 2. Now gonna keep going for it. Liquid takes the portal. Kira goes up, but Ryu in there as well. So this is the wall. Shut him down. Jankos kicks Liquid into Miracle, but Smurf is keeping them all at bay. He's burnt the ultimate as Jankos looks to dive back in. Odoamne very threatening as Liquid gets tagged and taken down by Jankos.
They're going to keep chasing here. Odoamne's looking for a Shock Blast.
Don't get it though. Squishy members there as Caitlyn looking very vulnerable. Odo wants it again. Fishers doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it, but they're all so chunked out that H2K can get access to the Baron area if they want. They don't need it to finish the game. There's no smite available on the other side here. Easy Baron to close out this game. Want to get Ganchu and Gold Lead they have sporting already at the 29-minute mark.
And H2K could just turn and kill these guys if they want. They have the vision. They see them coming in. They will look to finish the Baron first.
Oh my god, he stole it! Odo is going to take him now, but Miracle stands his ground and slays Odo Omne. Smurf going to flash his way in, but he's caught in enemy territory. Yanko's able to take him now, but Kira keeps the game afloat.
A little bit of that Baron magic. We saw a couple snug Barons. Now we see Kira stealing away a Baron, keeping ANX's hopes very dimly alive.
Dimly alive. I don't want to be negative, Nancy. I don't think this Baron will matter at all for this game.
Yeah.
But what it can mean in the scope of a best-of-5 series is a lot more, though.
Morale.
H2K is showing some weaknesses, and there's definitely a morale boost here for ANX as the crowd gets behind them again.
Just a nicely timed combo there from Kira. Get something back, and even if it is just that moral victory, it's gonna feel a little bit better.
So that hurts.
It does. Look at Liquor, and he's like, all right, nice. Managed to get it done there. And now they've got Ryu again. Pretty tanky on the Vlad Stales, and Liquor going to work on it. Miracle is some real DPS.
Jankos
Ryu
is
does
looking.
not care as Jankos will defend his mid laner.
And it's hard to judge H2K. Is this the way they will close out a game if the gold lead is not as big? We don't know. These are some of the weaknesses they've shown in the past, but it's so easy to get lost on the map when you have this large of a gold lead. So I will hold my judgment until we see the next game. But it's definitely, if you want to go cleanly into semifinals, you want to keep the games fresh and, not lose too much energy yourself. You got to close quicker and better.
You certainly do, and I think that they have to show that dominance, especially if they want to show how far they can go in this tournament. But H2K now, they are looking extremely strong. 2 inhibitors down. I'd like to see Odo Omne in the side lanes, pushing in the waves, getting that going for them, and then the team move up to the top side, wait for those waves to push in, siege the last inhibitor turret.
Definitely, they can do any variation of 1-3-1 or 1-1-3 here.
I don't know about this TP. I feel like that's a bit of a waste from Odo Omne. I think they could have just walked out, but I guess they really just want to push the issue.
The reason they do it like this is because they don't want the Nard to push out another wave in the bot lane. Big creeps can push on their own, especially when turrets are taken down in the lane already. He just wants to get to top lane poke. Remember, H2K can just die. They're still over 14,000 gold ahead. Baron buff on a couple of members doesn't really matter at all.
Ryu's taking some damage. Kira attacked by Yanko. Picks him in. There's the pick they needed. Vander gets himself another kill. As Odo Omne is going to take some damage as well. Miracle on the crit. Working on it, but the the Fizz is going to pop, and that's going to be Odo still going down. Yanko's actually now in trouble as ANX might have turned this around. Forgiven. Has to be careful. There's a nice Stranglethorn is going to keep the rest out. Ryu, though, getting chased down by Smurf, and he has to leave the base. Just missing the wallet there for Smurf. Doesn't commit the ultimate. No flash and can't make the big play. But H2K starting to kind of run out of ways to break the rest of this base.
Yeah, pick off mid on the Syndra. Immediate reaction from Liquid coming out with the Tempered Fate top.
Yeah, really good job by them, and they do get one back. ANX is holding on, and H2K not doing a great job of closing this out with a massive lead.
Stales caught again, but he's pretty tanky on the other side. Liquid, no ultimate, still fishing for Cosmic Bindings. H2K doing what they can, but it's hard to push through this Baron buff. Smurf can defend this Nexus Star for as long as he can.
Yeah, and in the opening sequence of today, Liquid was talking about this. If you play not to lose, you're always going to lose in the end, because if you play to win, that's what you got to do. And that's what ANX is doing right now, continuously looking for picks, fighting their way out. If it backfires, so be it. They don't care if they go down 10,000, 20,000. But right here, look at the minimap. The second they get caught here, they don't look to help. They put Tempered Fate onto Odo Omne, into Trap, into Q. Holds exhaust until the CC is over. Look at the disengage from Miracle though. Max range, nothing gets interrupted. It's honestly a perfect setup onto Odo Omne, who was super fed.
That was so well played, and even Kira getting his ultimate off, having the presence of mind to do that, means that Ryu cannot go aggressive to follow that fight because he was chunked out too. So some little things making a big difference there for ANX. Their inhibitors are back now, and they are scaling.
This is close to as a reset in this game as we were going to get.
Always scaling, Crab.
Always scaling.
Always scaling.
Go for late game, guys.
Late game, doesn't matter.
Eventually, they run out of item slots. That's what I tell my team every time.
Well, still plenty of slots to fill for ANX as far as their items are concerned, but maybe give it 10 to 15, perhaps 20 minutes and we could see. We've seen the magic from ANX before. We have another Infernal Drake spawning though, and HGK going to look to take that. The odds are certainly stacked against Albus Nox Luna this particular game, but we've seen crazier things already.
They are massively, especially the fact that Yanko stole that first Infernal, and now they're kind of staring down the barrel of the shotgun with third Infernal on the map. If you get all three of those, it's such a massive advantage, and Jankos is behind them. They're looking for a fight here.
Big play again. He pops around you and stacks Kira, but he gets stunned up. Jankos gonna go down, and Kira burns the ulti, but there's the snipe. Takes him down. Ryu in the backline, doing so much damage as Miracle gets a shutdown, but it's just too much. Here, H2K clean up 3 for 1, and Smurf and his GA gonna run back.
Yeah, beautiful flanking from H2K. Jankos is just a distraction. If he kills somebody, it's nice because it just gives Ryu access to the backline.
Certainly does. Ryu is the hero of this fight. He comes in from behind. They lose their jungler, but he takes down the AD carry, and they're looking to push and perhaps end the game right now with minions coming in.
They're just zoning him here. Licorice did make it back, but Miracle
Oh!
dead. That was dumb. As Oda1 destroys the poor support. H2K gonna push in, look to try and take this game down. And that's going to be it here. Smurf zoned out of his base. Going to get all in by Odo. Does take him down for the G as the rest of his team is going to rip through the Nexus turret. Smurf flashes out. Does not want to give away one more kill. But there's the first Nexus for H2K.
Europe strikes first blood as the NALCS is H2K. EULCS, my mistake, is up 1-0 here in the quarterfinals. And they are looking good. They had some blunders in the late game, but their laning was so dominant. Odoamne, a huge star here, and worked very, very...
We have a very good jungler, Jankos. I think he's actually the best European jungler at the moment. And also they have pretty good synergy at their bot lane. Forgiven is very scareful AD carry. I don't feel like I feel like a pressure from their top lane, but he's still pretty good. So all the H2K are good players, and they have one of the best European coaches probably.
Ooh, I think they were feeling the pressure after that first game from the top lane. Ooh, that was rough.
Pretty good is right.
Just a Jace, 2 kills, double buff. Pressure? No, not
no worries at all. Welcome back, everyone, to the Chicago Theater, where H2K is up 1-0 in tonight's best of 5. And we heard it already in the song. You guys have alluded to it already. Odoamne.
And this guy was massive, but to me, it wasn't just about Odoamne. It was about how he and Jankos worked so well together. You know, that top lane kind of tragedy that happened, you have to remember, that was a trap that ANX started. They wanted that fight, but Smurf and PvP Stayhouse were not on the same page.
And it's in those situations that you need innate synergy because there's not enough time to talk. It's all about what you can feel each other's as players. Because that was a good bait setup by ANX. They had the fake leash in the early game. They surprised Jankos stepping in there, but they still pulled ahead. And for me, it's just so nice to see that Odoamne can actually start carrying because he was very typecast as a tank player very often. He was the utility. Or when he played Gangplank, he would die over and over himself to give his ultimate to his team. So he was a very supportive role. But right now in the newer H2K where everybody kind of carries every lane and they all keep winning and that's how they snowball, he's definitely showing up.
And I think it makes that team so scary because when you have a potent early game jungler, you have 3 winning lanes, this guy can go anywhere. As an opposing jungler, how do you track him?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, he got the top lane carry, Snowbog with a bit of help from Jankos and took over the lane. Ryu and Forgiven got very normal, very safe picks, it felt like, and they just kind of did their thing and took over mid game.
Yeah, Forgiven was like a support at one point. He's 0-1-14. When I looked at the score right there, and that's what he was doing. And he was reduced to kind of the style he played when he was in Gambit, and when he himself felt very unsuccessful. However, he was helped by his team having 2 pushing lanes here, like the bans here from ANX, by the way. Sivir, probably another Jhin ban coming up, and then the first big lane.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously do not like dealing with that Sivir. They're trying to take it away because H2K was able to have a successful bot lane with no bot side pressure, right? We did not have to see Lee Sin down there at all.
Yeah, no Jhin ban, obviously, because Forgiven doesn't play it, but it should be the first big Caitlyn if the stars align, especially since H2K have shown that they don't care too much about the Syndra. So this should be a reply here where H2K probably won an early Zyra again, and they need to find another answer here. What has Forgiven picked up that he can lane into Caitlyn?
I would really like to see that Zyra taken away because I think that giving Lecrit that kind of comfort pick, something that's really strong in the meta and that he's really strong on, could be a mistake.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Stayos is going to do with the Olaf across off the board Is stealing the Lee Sin worth it for H2K here? I'm doubting because I feel like Steos can just play the Elise.
Yeah, he can just play the Elise, and he always does have Graves as that kind of comfort pick to fall back on. It's not huge in the meta right now, but this guy loves to play it.
Within a world metagame, Zyra Syndra would be the ideal rotation here, but I wonder if they change their opinion. Maybe just go for another Jace. It went fine last game.
I mean, they can flex it as well. Oda going to flash some Rammus for a bit of style, but the Zyra is already locked in there for H2K, so we'll see what they pair it with. And once again, they'll pick Jace, likely for Oda 1 there.
And I feel like they just think that they have a strong laning advantage in this top lane. So give this guy the advantageous lane matchup. Allow him the ability to try to snowball and take it over. It worked in game 1. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but definitely go in with the mindset that it won't be as easy as it was before. Odoamne made a few tiny mistakes overextending in the late game, but again, I'm not going to blame that as a lack of awareness from H2K. I think they just bought into the fact that they were so far ahead that they could play a more relaxed style of League of Legends. But definitely the lack of Syndra priority confuses me, and I wonder if it's going to change in the series. Once the games get closer, Syndra can really dominate these team fights.
Certainly can, and I think that although Vladimir is up as that safe lane pick, we talked about it again, it doesn't actually deal with the pick in the rest of the game. It only survives lane.
It survives lane, but gets pushed in, which means Syndra can roam, and that can cause like a cascading effect where the card house starts falling down. Because Syndra leaving lane can influence those winning lanes. Winning lanes push up, Syndra gets behind, 2 kills, it's over.
Well, you can see Elise and Gnar there for ANX, so Steos kind of taking the pick we expected him to here, and Nerf going to go back to a lane that he probably feels comfortable with. Forgiven will have to go to Lucian with 2 Eddie carries taken away, and Jankos, if it ain't broke, no need to fix it, going to take Lee Sin again.
And I think that the Lucian, it is a very strong lane, and if you can catch people in these Zyra routes, you can get very good trades, very aggressive trades. But if it's just a straight up standard lane, you can get bullied in, and it's going to be Alistar Caitlyn. This is something that has been very popular in the world's meta, the headbutt pulverize combo into the traps. But the problem becomes, if you just chill in a 2v2 in lane, you're going to get smashed by the Zyra.
Yeah, you get smashed, but there's always the threat of a Q flashing to knock backwards, especially since he'll be sporting the Ignite. The plan is quite simple for ANX. They want lanes that can be influenced on every lane by their jungler and their support, so they want to get some sense of pushing threat in the mid lane. It could be the Aurelion Sol, it can also be the Syndra. So likely to push in either matchup, then the Syndra can leave, start influencing a very, honestly, tippy matchup in the top lane. Narkin can get ahead of a Jace, and when he does, it's very hard for Jace to strike back. Combine that with jungle pressure, the early game will be a good indicator of how this game's going to go.
And if the Gnar gets ahead of the Jace, especially in combination with the Elise, that's one of the easiest dives in the game as far as a 2v1. So Odoamne is going to have to show respect there. Will be Vladimir locked in again. Repeat of the last matchup.
Yeah, this will be much harder for H2K's bot lane again. Yes, they could get push advantage, but they're playing double, very short-range champions into an Alistar that can get ganks from an Elise. It's very hard to continuously play forward and avoid ganks at the same time, especially when your mid laner does not have the priority.
We do have to remember, though, that Licrit has to have the confidence to make those plays, has to be moving around the map, getting stuff done, because if you sit back, if you just play it passively, Zyra will harass you out of lane. They will get massive advantages in that way, so you must pull the trigger, make stuff happen.
And it's just very few changes, really, for H2K. Every pick is the same except for Forgiven, who did have to change to another short-range AD carry and Lucian. I feel like ANX have shifted a couple of things, not too much, but they've kind of put the power where they want it to be. Licrit, big playmaker on the Alistar, and Steos on a much more aggressive gank-heavy jungler with Elise.
But if I look at just the draft, I almost want to say that ANX clearly won it.
Well, Coach is going to shake hands. Wonder what they think. Guess we'll find out as we get ourselves onto the roof. Don't forget, though, to join the conversation on Twitter and share your favorite moments from Worlds 2016 using the hashtag #WorldBigPlays. And you can continue getting your team hashtags rolling out there as well. ANX have a lot of fans out there in the world right now. We've heard them here in the crowd, we've heard them out there online, but H2K maybe silencing some of that with that very crisp game 1.
I think they definitely did. In ANX, you have to feel like they need to strike back here in game number 2. If you go down 2-0 against H2K, the reverse sweep is going to be really tough to pull off.
Well, that's technically the only way you can reverse sweep, though.
There you go. That's why I'm saying you don't want to get into that reverse sweep situation.
That's true.
Got tied up, Crepo. Keep up, keep up.
Gotta go back to European style, you know, get those ties out.
Yeah. H2K has the experience there, so I don't know if it goes to a tie, you know, they got the advantage.
More than enough ties on the caster desk. Thank you very much. As you are out onto the rift, you can hear the crowd once again cheering for Albus Nox. Luna, we have swapped sides around. And we'll see if Miracle and Licorice can maybe get a bit more leverage here. And just in general, ANX, they kind of pick themselves the right tools to get stuff done. See if they can get more of their early game done this time.
Yeah, and last game we saw two of the most important concepts of, honestly, the first 5 minutes in League of Legends come to fruition. It is information sharing, and especially in terms of leashes. The fake leash in the top lane had a completely surprising effect there when Steos found Jankos, and then also the importance of early lane push in the bot lane. And H2K seem very set on getting that one again, but we see a different approach here from ANX. Wanting to punish maybe Vander when he goes for a ward. I really hope for their sake that they don't commit to another camp here. Alistar plus Krugs really isn't good for this lane matchup for a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to delve into it too much because then people start snoozing. But we'll definitely see a fight for the push here early.
Yeah, I think that they aren't going to go for that. I think they realized their mistake from last time. They've worded out that Zyra is hanging out here. They know they don't want to give up that early push, and I think with that early Relic Shield, you can easily get that push going for yourself.
Ooh, I wonder if they actually let Forgiven walk in and go for the freeze and then kind of stomp him from out of brush, because that's what he did last game. He walked into the lane to get the mini freeze, but technically if they're in the brush, there's a chance. There's so many like what ifs that could happen. Let's just find out what happens.
Well, here we are in the bottom lane. Forgiven actually hanging back pretty far. Kira and Ryu will go back into the same matchup here. See if Kira can have a bit more success early on. Nice little Thunderlord's proc there, getting some damage down. And I guess the other change early on is that the junglers will be starting on the same side of the map this time around as well. So no tricks this time from ANX, but we'll see if they get more aggressive down towards that bottom side or not.
Yeah, certainly no tricks just yet with that, but there can always be adjustments as far as pathing go. There's ways that you can kind of mix it up.
Trap start by a Miracle here is peculiar to say the least. H2K get the push again. They were definitely looking for some queso right there.
Yeah, they were. I think the only thing that you could say is they're hoping that Forgiven goes to that freeze.
Yeah.
You Q flash, you trap them out of that, you get first blood.
Plus
that was what they were
minion
looking for. But that said, you still shouldn't have leveled up your trap until that happens.
Yeah, you should wait with skilling. You saw the ward on your screen as well in the second brush. It was placed at basically 150 by Vander, spotted out the trap that ANX has set up, and then H2K played it perfectly, you know, calmly just poking out, getting control, pushing as just a margin as fast as they need. Don't want to overpush. You want to deny as many minions and make it an awkward wave that hits a turret, and that's how they want to get a CF advantage. Now Smurf, or Liquid rather, is level 2. That's the threat of an all-in with Alistar. That's what HK need to play around, but still, they're in such a comfortable position.
They certainly are, and it's not the start that the ANX bot lane was hoping for, but obviously a couple minions, not that big of a deal.
We'll see if they keep growing here. Is Kira and Ryu doing battle? Kira burning a lot of that mana pool, but does chunk Ryu down pretty nicely. Vlad is particularly vulnerable in the early levels, but Kira, see if you can, again, affect those side lanes a little more now that he is getting those pushes going.
Yeah, much different approach here from the first game. We see both junglers got a leash from their top laners, and they're pathing down to at least get river control. Really good Scuttle Crab contestation there as well. Getting the Scuttle Crab means a lot for these teams. We're going to see if there's some more priority coming out from the junglers.
And you can see Jankos is actually a camp or two full ahead because Steos was kind of not doing that hard clear. He was hanging around, looking to see if he could find anybody. He wasn't able to, and as a result, Jankos is going to be first to kind of make a move here, perhaps in the mid lane.
Yeah, he put a ward near the Scuttle Crab, but didn't want to waste time
looking
it. He's going for Kira here, who's low on mana. Kira smartly going to the right side. The little game that Jankos is playing that we can follow too, he walked into river, he didn't want to waste time taking the Scuttle Crab, so he places a ward that could potentially spot Steos if he goes to check for it, and then Jankos just keeps power clearing, going for an efficient gank in the mid lane here, trying to accelerate the game, leaving his bot lane slightly exposed, but they bounced the wave. Look at Forgiven and Vander now too. They're much safer. They're respecting the threat of an Olaf, of a Elise gank with an Alistar with flash early on, so H2K very much so playing as a unit.
It feels like one of our big questions for H2K's bottom lane in particular was, can they deviate from their style? Well, not really. They always want to play the same way, but they can adapt within that mode, it feels like.
Definitely, we see a different H2K here. Forgiven and Vander are not mindlessly pushing up. They say, you know what, at least start top side. We don't know where he is. We're playing against a guy that loves to pull the trigger on the flash. They'll just back out. They will take some poke here, and they will buy into the range disadvantage that Caitlyn has over Lucian.
Oh, hello. Straight in onto Forgiven. Licorice not quite clear enough to cleanly combo out, but I love the aggression.
I actually like it myself too. Trade a little bit of your health and mana, get Forgiven into an uncomfortable position, but they're actually just going to take this time, it looks like, to fully base, and at least just on Licorice. Interesting.
Yeah, they want to send him back. Just get
He's going topside.
Because you want to, he can roam, But the reason you don't want to base right there is because it's too easy of a bounce there for Forgiven and Vander, and a Miracle can actually farm on the turret if this wave gets shoved in. The reaction when people base is usually to go fast shove, so he's just going to pick up those minions under the turret.
And this is going to be super unexpected. This was an early base from Licrid. I don't think Odoamne is going to be expecting this guy to be topside, but that said, he doesn't even have boots. It's taking him forever to get up here, and they're actually pinging the possibility of him being up here now, so he's wasting so much time just kind of wandering around the map.
Because this is a play you see very often in scrims where supports on first base try to influence other lanes because of the nature of the play. It's so unpredictable.
Feels like the right play, but no rewards there for Licrid. Unfortunately, Odo actually completes his base. Now with double drones and 2 longswords, not the same lead nearly that he had at this time around in game number 1, but is actually still playing and should continue to be aggressive. Smurfer, to his credit, stabilizing the lane much better here.
Yeah, Kira, once he hits 6 there and he has the Lost Chapter and he gets his next blue buff, that's the breaking point in the early game. That's when Ryu's going to start eating too many orbs that he can't really dodge, and he's going to lose the lane pressure. And you see if Kira can then roam, because if HUK get pushed in bot lane, nothing's preventing them to get Dole 4v2 here. That's definitely something they need to keep track of.
Yeah, not at all, especially because the Zyra is so squishy. If you hit any sort of CC on this Zyra, she's dead to a Syndra roam. So that's something they're always going to have to be aware of. You also have to track the fact that it's Cocoon, it's the combo from Alistar, and we have traps plus the Syndra stun. Those are 4 forms of CC that are easily lit.
Odoamne back in again, but good trade onto Smurf. Smurf's actually going to hop back in and trade back. Not too bad there, but Jankos was roaming up as well. Steos is on this side of the map, but he might lose a camp here. Good ward.
Level advantage.
Going to spot him, but he wants it. Oh my god, he's a genius. Swoops in, does get the camp, and now what does he get? He forces a flash. Jankos, great heads-up play.
Steos actually had his smite. He could have just smited that. I don't know if he was looking somewhere else on the map. That's the only thing I can think.
Oh, your Smurf's going in for the 1v2. That's under the assumption that it was smiteable. Maybe it was the level difference. Jankos had a slightly better smite. Maybe they were running the numbers. We'd have to go check back. In the end, it doesn't really matter too much. Jankos went in for the aggressive play, got the flash, got the Grom steal, and is definitely full level head right now, it seems, of his opponent.
Confidence from Smurf though. Does go in, look for something, but isn't going to find it. And Steos just going to move back to that bottom side. Ryu actually going back. Does have that Spectre's Cowl, so things should get better in his 1v1 matchup.
And with Steos actually moving to the bot side here, NH2K so far up, they're going to have to be careful. They actually have no vision whatsoever. Steos is going to get behind them. We'll see where Licrid will go.
Oh, Forgiven now going to get comboed here by Licrid. Forgiven trying to dash out of the way, but here comes Elise as well. Vander now has to move out of the way to get
TP coming in from Odoamne.
Vitaling going to move back in, looking for Forgiven. Exhaust is down, and they're trying to cut it out. Odo finally makes it in, and ANX just don't have enough. Kira is finally going to make it, but Odo gets first blood again! As H2K are going to try and book it. The ulti there from Kira, but it's not enough to take out Odo, and now he's going to slay. Odo finally goes down, but Jankos goes back in. Got no kick. Ryu in here with a massive 4-man Hemo flank. Flash tied the bottom, looking for a little bit more, but Kira going to stun him up again. Licrid does go down to Jankos on the other side of the fight. It's a disaster. Smurf turns it around. Stranglethorn's going to knock him up, and he goes down as well. It's just not enough to save anyone.
And ANX is just completely not on the same page there. As they're going forward, a Miracle is running away. Smurf TP'd in way too late, and that was just a tragedy for ANX. This game has already gone pear-shaped.
What a massacre here for H2K. They get 4 kills to 1. Steos has to steal this dragon, but there's no way for him to get into the pit. No flash, he can repel up. Doesn't have the range to reach it. He's trying to find out how low this dragon exactly is. As he curves around the corner, it's down. They bought into that play so much. It was the right idea. Gank the bot lane, but Forgiven respected the play enough. He held enough range here, not getting into Q flash range ever, which meant Licrid had to expend this flash, which means no dash backwards.
But watch a Miracle here. He just turns around. He's not even getting involved. The TP comes in. He's like, all right, we're out. The rest of his team is all in. Where's the TP coming in from Smurf? That is like a full 5 seconds late after Odoamne. They're just not on the same page at all. And if Smurf TP'd in first, I think they win this fight.
Definitely, if the Gage is a coordinated effort here with the TP. Miracle, that was his first auto attack in over 10 seconds, it feels like. Yep. Definitely great job pointing that one out, and that's honestly the change for this fight. If you are the team setting up the play, you gotta commit. You gotta throw all your resources at it, especially when you have a role play like the Syndra. Definitely a big weakness here for ANX, not using the pattern of plays that we've seen in so many games. Syndra push up, roam down, jungler comes with you, teleport, just completely annihilate bot lane and then get the turret.
And Jankos this time is the slacker. The first time he has not participated in a first blood. here at Worlds for HQK. Odo, though, keeps his perfect record for the series. Does get it again.
Ooh, he does get involved in 3 kills right after it, though, so not too bad. We'll give him a free pass on this one.
Maybe it was close enough. Still counts.
He's like, I'm in range, it's fine. I basically count. Well, once again, H2K have jumped out to a 2,000 gold lead here. 10.5 minutes in, and ANX, I love what they tried there, but now H2K with pressure, with momentum. We see what they can get done. This is Odo just going back in, and Smurf just can't do much of anything.
Oh, it's like you're going to get some PTSD here if you're Smurf, and Jankos is coming. This could be that 2v2 turned around.
Not quite what they wanted it to be. Odo's going to look for it again. Smurf hops his way out, but here comes Jankos again. Kick after the Q. Jankos takes down another.
And it's those little things, applying the Q before the R here. Jankos tanking the
Oh
turret.
my goodness!
Flashback to last game. Oluwamne is fed. Up 30 plus CS. He's going to be working on this turret. Smurf has no teleport. This turret is going down. And Oluwamne, once again, monstrous lead in the top lane.
He's smashing some kids right now. It's honestly dirty how far this Jason's head in 2 games in a row. They had the right reactions in the bot lane. Part of me wonders what happens when that play of ANX is executed perfectly. That is something that hopefully HQK take home, but they are reacting so well in the moment, and especially the point that Azael brought up earlier, the innate jungler top lane synergy, it's there, because you can see it. Jankos was reacting to Odoamne holding back. Odoamne holds back, which means Jankos can tank the turret, which means they can chase out perfectly. No chance for turnaround right there. Very cleanly executed play.
Even in the earlier play there, Oluwamne has the faith in and communication with his jungler to know he can turn around at the right time, forcing Smurf back, allowing them to have a 2v1.
Kira actually looking again, but he's got no mana. Now going to get chased down. Jankos lines up another Q, but goes spot by Kira, keeps him safe.
And they respect the fog of war. It's a game of low percentage plays, especially when you are 4,000 gold ahead already. You don't need to over chase. Very calm and collected.
Oh, gets him into the wall, carries him all the way, but Miracle taking damage. Tail looks for the flash cocoon and misses. HGK's bottom lane get away again.
That was so well played by Forgiven. Instead of trying to hit the Alistar, he pushes back the Caitlyn, keeping his support safe.
Oh, so well played by Vander. He had a flash and he never got afraid, especially since his AD carry is still at heal. Both, yeah, give credit to supports, Azael. No, definitely well played by both. They know that they're not in threat of danger. They know exactly where the jungler is. He didn't even panic flash that cocoon. H2K seemed so in control of the game, really. And this is such a stark contrast, because in the middle of the split, their communication was so erratic. It was, in heat of the moment, they could never back out from place. Once H2K started going, they kept going. Everyone was just yelling, go, go, go. Right now, Vander misses.
Oh, again, looking for Vander. Maybe a little squishy this time. Headshots not enough. The exhaust keeps him alive, but Lucro wanted. He's trying to trample all the way down in the plants. But Vander gets away with it, burns all the summoners to do so.
And look how much time Steos has spent on the bot side of the map trying to force something, trying to make something happen. All this time, Jankos is getting further ahead. He's up 20 CS in the jungle too. He is being very efficient, and Steos is feeling the pressure. Feels like, I have to help this lane out.
Another 2v3 bot lane for H2K.
Oh, Ryu stunned again, but Kira again. Not enough mana here versus that Spirit Visage to really do anything.
That's the nature of this matchup. You need to get ahead in the Syndra versus Vladimir before this point, before Spirit Visage. If not, Ryu, especially when he has a jungler and vision around him, can start playing aggressive. And look, Odoamne pathed down, ready for the dive.
Yep, exactly, and that's the advantage he has gained from this massive topside lead.
Dive again. Ryu should have all the tools to do so. No ultimate, but that's going to be okay. Miracle's actually the one getting dove. Tango's going to kick him in the face. Forgiven just cleans up one last order as ANX commit the TP, then cancel it. As Odo's backing onto Kira, knocks him back. The stun's not bad. Kira flashes out of the way, but H2K take over that mid lane.
H2K are just striking on all sides of the map, and Smurf, there was nothing he could do with that TP. His AD carry is already long dead.
And I just love watching great Lee Sin players. They could approach hoping to save their flash if they just kick, but they know if the enemy has flash, he's waiting for that exact pattern.
Oh no. Kira, that's enough to the sky. Just crushes down on his head.
Slam dunk for Odoamne, and he wants
again.
more.
PvP Steos caught up this time, repels back down, but Odo looking for it again. The Hemoplex enough for you. Just takes him down, and now the crit. He's going to come into the blender. Odoamne looking to fire more shots in, but Flicker keeps his life alive. H2K going to claim the mid-outer 3 turrets to nothing and a gigantic gold lead.
It's getting tough to watch here as ANX is just losing on all sides of the map. They just don't seem to be able to keep up, and this is H2K in rare form. They are playing an immaculate game of League of Legends.
Yeah, they're punishing Albus Nox Luna. It's the nature of a team that comes in with a lot of surprises in terms of gameplay and picks.
It just feels like Odoamne can do no wrong.
Yeah, it's too easy right now for him. We need to put hard mode on, some of those ultimate bots in the game, to dodge everything. But no, this is also, it's part of the trajectory for ANX. You come into a tournament and you are a wild card in the literal sense of the word, where nobody knows what to expect and you get surprised. But the farther you go into the tournament, and the more you kind of start scrimming these teams as well, the more you get found out and honestly downloaded, and that's what HCK is doing. They're completely outplaying ANX across the board.
Yeah, ANX talked about how after that week 1 win, they started getting all those scrim partners. And yes, that's great practice and you can improve, but they lost the element of surprise kind of by starting to practice with these teams. And they even talked about the fact that they had practiced specifically with H2K.
Let's kind of wrap it all together. We have seen some perfectly good, solid, standard play from ANX as well. They're not just, you know, a team that plays only chaotic and that's it. And we saw the execution that could have been in this game and the last game, but they're just not quite on the same level as H2K right now, and that's costing them in so many of these early games.
But they're going up against a team that has players that have hit critical mass in terms of tournament form. Odoamne is playing amongst the best top laners in the tournament. He's being praised by his peers as well. We have Forgiven, who is a great AD carry, who finally has shown more flexibility in style as well. He's not with Vander just mindlessly pushing up here. He's actually baiting ganks, forcing Stayos to stay around for so long. As a unit, HCK is using all that information and punishing Albus Nasuna. So it's finally all tying together, and that's what was missing for so long for HCK.
It really is, and it has to be a bit frustrating for ANX, because both last game with the 2v2 top lane and this game with the party in the bot lane, if they had executed a little bit better, they could be the ones with the massive lead. They could be the ones snowballing the game, but instead, it's H2K astronomically ahead once again.
And credit to H2K, they're not only good at getting early leads, but they snowball almost harder than any other team in the tournament. They are on an absolute tear. Don't forget, they're 5-0 right now as far as overall wins go. This could be their 6th straight Worlds win in a row.
Yeah, their gold progression in the games is honestly fantastic to watch. Give them a little bit to take so much more. When the Dragon goes down here, there was some questions in their closing ability last game, but shouldn't look into it too much. They have another chance to prove that they can cleanly close with a large gold advantage. But still, even if they do it sloppily, they're setting themselves up to be 2-0 in a quarterfinal. Honestly, something not expected for H2K coming into the tournament.
Well, you can see right now, Smurf is trying something cute here, but Forgiven once again playing with a lot of respect and restraint. We'll just let Miracle farm up here.
And it's like Repo talked about earlier, respect Fog of War.
Yeah.
Until you see that Gnar somewhere else, give him the respect that he's in that bush.
Especially when the map is so tiny. You could run out of options, you know, where could he be? He could be standing behind his tier 1 turret, that's about it. If he's not there, well, then he has to be somewhere in the bot lane trying to cheese you. And HCK completely choke out Vision. Again, they want a 1-1-3 or 1-3-1. Just put Forgiven near the most vulnerable turret here, Ryu. Put him in the long side lane, he can duel. Especially since his Gnar is itemizing armor too. Against the Vladimir, he's just gonna get put into the dumpster. Well, all these little things.
Been a lot of what the lanes have looked like, unfortunately. ANX have certainly struggled versus some strong opponents on HCK. Odoamne once again was off to a flying start, but it's been a little less chaotic than the game before. HCK, regardless, is still up almost 10,000 gold at under 20 minutes.
And it's also so hard to judge these drafts, and you know, because you look at the draft and I'm like, ANX won this, you know. If they do X and Y, they can outplay it, but maybe we're overlooking something, or maybe just HCK is such a great team. It's so hard to then get an accurate assessment of these picks. Also for H2K, if they go to the next round here in semifinals, hopefully they have the right context for some of these Syndra matchups, because if they play against a roaming mid laner that can get more influence, definitely could be possible.
Well, you can see again, H2K are sticking with the aggression that they love. Black Cleaver second for Odoamne, Protobelt second once again for Ryu. This is a team that gets their lead, gets the right items to push it, and then just pushes really hard.
Exactly, and having these mid-game spikes, those 2-item spikes where these champions are at their strongest this early, makes it so they can put themselves in a position to really blow the game wide open with one more fight.
And see a bit of a face check here.
Surprise!
The angle should be fine. Has kick still available.
Oh, good flash. Gnar gets a couple walls there as well. Kira, JNCC, and there's a pick for ANX.
Doesn't decide to pull the flash trigger. A lot of cooldowns used though. And that's what they were doing. HCK was building out their Baron vision. They had Odoamne in the bot lane, pushing up uncontested. They wanted to prep for a 20-minute match.
Oh, that's awkward.
A little bit unlucky there for Lecrit, but
did he get that with a W, or was that just a straight Q flash?
It was I think he looked to headbutt and didn't hit the headbutt button on the target he wanted.
Yeah, no, he definitely flashed.
I think it was a flash Q looking for the headbutt after, but not quite connected there for Lecrit. We'll have a little check on that.
Yep,
but
still.
Odo is still just split pushing these side lanes.
Exactly, and ANX, once again, they know they need to make a play. They go for it. They layer the CC very well. The Elise followed up by that Gnar and the Syndra. They get a kill, and they start to fight back. They need to continuously look for these kind of picks and just claw their way slowly back into the game.
And honestly, it was just a straight-up whiff here for Liquid. And with Alistar, you can't afford to do that, especially now that the cooldown reduction boots kind of have been removed, or the summoner cooldown, the distortion, is no longer in the game. It was such a strong, powerful tool because Alistar could always go for these plays every 3 minutes. Right now, you're reduced to doing it every 4.5. So much vision right now for H2K as well. Look at how far back the trap line is for Caitlyn. That's generally an indicator of how far behind the team is on the vision game.
And he talked about it already. I just feel like ANX do need to make some plays, and those are the picks they want. Unfortunately, like we could see, it cost them so many cooldowns just to get one kill. Zara ulti's really blocking a lot of the party that they could be having as well. And H2K, a very speedy Baron start.
Yeah, they're going for the two-man barrier here, showing their support and AD carry in the mid lane. They finish off mid wave, then rotate in here. They're kind of lucky Alistar was too afraid to peek around, but it is a smart strategy. ANX is going to expect the Baron to be started right now, but it's already on 4,000 HP.
Yeah, this is just going to be gone. It's going to be too little too late, and they're committing to it. The culling blown there from Forgiven is really smart. They're the ones pulling the sneaky Baron against ANX.
They've been spotted, but Ryu's just going to have to book it out. He pulls out of the way. He does have his flash, but won't have to expend it there. Don't forget 0-1. They were still bottom lane without his teleport, so that was very well played.
And
by
now he has
H2K.
the Baron buff, which Smurf can't contend with. You know, he's not able to clear out that wave. They get the turret.
Part of me feels it's still so risky to go for that play,
Oh,
though.
it's very risky.
No teleport on your top laner. Liquid could have just walked in, warded, flash comboed, maybe turn it around.
Roll.
So bold, but right now, if it pays off big.
Yeah, Liquid's like, yeah, get me out of here. Oh, the kick's not enough, but 0-1, they might just go in anyway. Liquid almost about to get himself destroyed by a very fed Jace. But H2K instead, they'll group together in mid lane and try and shove down some more turrets with their very fresh Baron buff.
Nice for Jace here. They're relatively short range, so they're susceptible to the QE here. But if they get hit and everybody forgets about Ryu, he's just going to 1v9 the team fights.
And Ryu was just zoning them off the side, even expending the ultimate to push them back, threaten that dive, and allows them to pick up more gold, get further and further ahead. And he's going in.
Ryu's in, looks for the proto, but last few missiles do get him, and he's pulled his way out with style. Liquid, good three-man pole. They need to follow up those strength performance again. Gonna keep them out of the way. Liquid almost goes down, but has not enough damage.
And Vander playing a great defensive Zyra as well. Two-man snare. They're in the backline. Don't have enough range on the side of ANX to get to Ryu. That means Odoalne is uncontested in the bot lane.
This is part of the issue. Jace just doing so much work with his structures early on, particularly empowered by Baron. H2K can look for a bit of a greedy one here. Vander finds two with the Stranglethorns, but Staios just goes down 0-1. They now on a killing spree. Gnar finds two. Wall doesn't connect on Liquid. He goes in again. It's a great pull, but it's just not enough. Forgiven takes out Smurf. There's the ace for H2K. They collect the body inhib, and they're not done.
Yeah, Albus Nox Luna playing whack-a-mole on hard mode. You solve one problem, but two more pop up. H2K is everywhere and just slaughtering them.
Oh, goodbye, Kira. There's the ace again for H2K. The Nexus turrets are going to go down, and H2K will go up 2-0 in the quarterfinals.
23 minutes into the game, they close it out. We asked, can they close out the games with a lead? And I think that is a resounding yes, as H2K looks even